Yo, DJ, good to see you. Bonjour, Esther. The girls at ICAS got a shout out in the Globe and Mail yesterday. I should say this morning, excuse me. Stop rubbing it in, Slim. Strawberry raspberry bread. Yeah, we got some things to talk about. As soon as you shut your alarm off here. My alarm clock seems to be going off. We're awake again. Oh. Yeah? Slim, are you using freeze-dried products in that sense? Put my freeze-dried to good use, because you can grind them up and freeze-dry them into your flour and then bake your bread, right? Oh, yeah. That would probably taste fairly good, I'm expecting. Very flavorful and aromatic. Fluffy. It's probably more, or does it resemble more like banana bread? How does it come out? Is it like a loaf? Got me thinking about that again. Good to see you, DJ. Seawood had some great points. Listen, this isn't clickbait. You're not walking into any clickbait here, y'all. Daniel's probably somewhere right now, curled up in the fetal position, trying to light a glass dick. Got the torch blowing. Hit that one more time. Man, oh man, oh man. Friends, there's an article hidden behind a paywall, but if you search hard enough, you can get the details of it, and you don't really need to go and spend the money at the Globe and Mail, because we're not all that big on mainstream media, except for when they do things like this. That it's worth talking about, because when they signal something in national publication, you can guarantee that they've spent their money wisely and they've fact-checked, and they're even protecting this individual's identity, the neighbor. But Daniel and Janie sure knows who it is. So it now, before we start, it makes a lot more sense when you look back, when you're coming to know the things that you come to know, or us as a collective. Daniel's already out there preemptively talking about this neighbor, and you don't quite know where that's coming from, right? You're not exactly clear on what the neighbor's involvement is, other than kind of what you've put together. But in this article, it laid it out quite clearly. And that's what we decided to make the title of this live stream, because that's fairly significant, I would say. Holy shit. Holy shit. Almost feel like part of the investigation, Daniel, more so than you. So, of course, and we can specify, and they're not going to share that information. We can get that in court when it comes out. You know that. Because you can then think, I wonder exactly why so many times. Are there two different locations? Did he forget things? Did he come back? Well, the individual, this is what is so damaging to Daniel, because not only this was no little old lady. This was some individual out up late at night working on his own vehicles. As he's a mechanic as well, he knows what it is he's talking about, and he could identify the vehicle through sound, standard transmission, 5-speed, kicking it down the highway. Probably listen to some sort of satanic music inside that. Okay, I'm going too far there. No. But he could identify the vehicle as a 5-speed and somebody who's tuned it for speed in that sense. Whether that means that there's a specific exhaust system on it that stood out when he was, shifting down the road. But something about the vehicle made it very profound of a sound. You can probably sit in your home and listen to it when it goes by your house all the time. Everybody knows what we're talking about. So is that what he's talking about? It's a little cloudy, but essentially, in my mind, that's some trustworthy statements. Now, he said this vehicle came and went 6 times. 6 times! In a 5-hour period between midnight and 5 a.m., no matter what, that smashes the shit out of Daniel's narrative at any point, and Malaya's. Well, that didn't take very much. So it was never really established out there other than the conditioning that they've been doing online with bringing this false information and establishing this false narrative out here. It just makes a lot more sense at this point in time, and it's so interesting. Happy Friday, by the way. It's Good News Friday. The markets are pumping, but pulling back a little bit now this morning. It'll be fine. Great news on the higher time frames, but we won't get political or anything. But listen, you can do all kinds of new things with your 401ks. Hint, hint, hint. That's making the markets move a little bit today. That's just good. Good morning, my dear. Charity's getting up too. Good morning, Queez. 5-speed, older vehicle. Do you still think they manufacture them? Oh, Slim. Fuck. Everybody drives stick. People love sticks. It's about the experience. You can get sticks no problem. Of course they still make 5 speeds, 6 speeds. It's now even cheaper than ever to go and afford a nice little Beamer or Audi, Volkswagen. Popular cars for tuning, but it's not important that that we sit here and try to guess the goddamn vehicle. Who cares? You can trust that the RCMP have the all of the information that we can fandangle about and speculate on. The answer is that there's somebody out there listening to us right now who knows that vehicle or has the answers out there in the public. They need to find that car. They need to identify that car. That car is on somebody's video camera. That's information that I wish they should have shared right away, but I don't want to be critical. At this point. Not at this point. It's unnecessary. It's too fantastic of news. Let me bring this up. So, you're guessing more than just one driver in that car back and forth within 10 miles? I don't know what kind of math you're doing there in Linda Naughton, but who knows? We don't know where that car came from yet. We don't know who was driving it, if somebody else was involved. Maybe it was cousin Ron there. Maybe it was old Janie's brother Ron. Isn't he into cars? I don't know. But there's a group of individuals that it probably does belong to. Let's see, I'll read it to you so you don't have to ask me, Faye Galuzzi. That's the question. So where did they go 6 times back and forth to? Now, you want my answer? It had something to do with hiding the bodies. Forgetting something. In 2 different spots, potentially. Did he forget something twice? Although, I'm keeping it open because we don't know the time frame within those 6 hours. Was it back and forth 3 times within the first 30 minutes? And then 1 time back, and then how are they sectioned up in the timeline of those 6 hours? We don't know that information. That'll be information that is relevant to prosecuting these sons of bitches in the court of law. But I agree, we don't have that information. It's fantastic, but we can still speculate around that in that sense, because think about what that does to the false narrative that old DM Danny Boy has been bringing to the airwaves. That's going to put a real challenging, not really, because he doesn't have really any problem lying at this point. He's not doing it because I think he likes it. He's doing it out of necessity. Anyway, let's see. What's going on, Tammy Burke? Good to see you this morning. Heaven's sakes. So I got this information. First of all, before we get into it, we got to mention there's a secondary case out there. A second case right now going on. Jaden. This young 10-year-old who sounds like he's special needs from Kentucky. JLR reported on it. Everybody's talking about it, really. Everybody's mentioned it. There's not a whole lot of information out at this point in time other than a handwritten note by her mother. I believe I read that he was blind. I might be wrong. But he's a 10-year-old child, and he's missing in Kentucky right now. Here's another situation of a child disappearing in the night, and the mother, although she did write a note and took a picture of it, that's all we have. Is there some avoidance going on there? We don't know yet, and it's too early to come to a determination, but there's a lot of early warning signs of something being amiss. The lawsuit King DJ, yeah. Yeah, so where did I just read that? Be safe, be free. Good to see you. No wonder people thought it was a rug party with a car like that going in and out many times. Sadly, rugs would have been more innocent than what they did do. Yeah, at that point in time, if it was just like a straight pickup or some sort of distribution or just a good night in sales, that's one thing. Now we have an accurate arena in which to speculate in. It's safer because it raises all kinds of relevant questions that, guess who? Daniel and Janie. And here, why does Janie want to avoid that? Because she would hear a car like that in and out of the driveway. It probably pisses her dog off to no end. Why aren't you mentioning about this vehicle? Wasn't Janie sleeping all night too? What is going on? And allegedly Justin sleeps in that trailer, because even in the Globe and Mail interview talks about Janie sleeping in that 35-foot trailer in the backyard because of the shitty condition of the normal trailer. So I'll never sleep in that fucking garbage. What does that say? Holy shit, JD. How bad does that trailer have to be? He's got them living on a pile of trash. And they moved the trailer in so they could get away from the nightmare that was going on inside that trailer. And these are things that they're stating. It's like, listen, excuse me a little bit for speculating in that arena. What the hell? This is sadly the effects of meth use, and people who recognize that see it right away. You can tell what was going on there, and it's so sad to see that they're putting themselves through it. Like, what the hell? How, does Janie have that sort of selective memory? Like, what is with this relationship? So it sounds more like perhaps Daniel moved back in, and he's a monster in that sense. And it sounds like Janie and Justin both moved out of that camper to get the hell away from all of the noise from the kids, because they can't stand the kids, and all of the crap that was going on, this is their words, inside that trailer. So that broken down old shitty Dodge that doesn't fucking run, with the tarp on the roof and a wood stove sticking out the side of it with no space to move around, is a better alternative, with animals in there, by the way. With animals, is a better alternative than living in even a 53-foot trailer. But apparently there's holes in the floor. It's just falling into a state of disrepair. I wonder what Daniel's doing. He's busy on stress leave from the lumber mill, they're saying. Stress leave. What a pussy. What's so stressful in your life? The fact that you're hooked on the fucking jib. I'm sorry, I can't go through this anymore. It's too stressful. Could be anything. Yeah. Something that pops up contradicts the narrative that he puts out. Could be anything. Well, we're not worried about the anything so much because there's 2 missing kids at the end of this. Nini, AB, whose trailer is a shithole? D and M or Janie's or both? Well, that's kind of a tough question, really, to answer. They all are. You should see where his dad lives. They have pictures of this in the Globe and Mail. And yes, I did get screenshots. Hey, Pearl Mooney. Let me get over there and stop wasting your time. Let me tell you in a moment. Oh, my God. Oh, I got this from over at Mike Demands. He's got a good breakdown. This is where I got all my information this morning, but I went and listened to It's a Criming Shame. Well, I listened to the analysis and their breakdown of it. Fantastic. Fantastic. And congratulations, ladies. Congratulations, Sonny. And Charmaine. And Kent. I won't forget Kent now. Now that I know that story, I feel bad for him. They had their names mentioned in the article today, which is always good advertisement for your channel when you're growing. Now, let me get this picture. I'll show you the trailer. So there is a picture of what was in the Globe and Mail today. Oh, shit. Maybe that's just a storage shed. It seems to be like an older log home that's lost all its chink. Maybe it was never finished. I don't know. I thought that was interesting. Yeah, so this is Earl Martell's property, home to a cluttered cabin and old campers for Jack and Lily. These are for Jack and Lily. Fuck. What? Dudes, this is a goddamn torture chamber. Are you fucking serious? This is not for children to be playing in. This is something that you see when you see the body cam footage of parents rescue people that they've kidnapped for a certain amount of time. Do you know, like, they've rescued people that have been taken? Is this also how they punish them? They go lock them in Earl's trailer and let the boogeyman get them? Like, torture them by putting them in this sort of environment. Do you know how scary that is as a kid? Do you remember how old places like this used to make you feel? They still make kids feel that way. This place is fucking haunted, bro. I'm not saying that now. I'm saying that from a kid's perspective. This is not a happy place to just hang out and play in, man. This resembles more of a torture chamber. Or like something that, what was that? Josef Fritzl. You know, somebody who's kept his daughter in the basement for 30 years and had 6 kids with. Something bizarre. I don't even think Hollywood would get it this close. Yeah, Hollywood horror movie set, Slim. This is Earl's place. People out there already knew this. This is why it's so interesting at this point in time, because they pop in and out of your chats, and you hear these little things, and they say things a certain way. And it leaves it, and after the fact, you come to find out that the individuals, weeks ago, probably knew what they were talking about at that time, and you couldn't quite put a finger on it. But randos, so you can't really pay too much attention to it. It's just a lot of people talking, right? It's not until afterwards that you recognize it. It's like Boo Radley's house from To Kill a Mockingbird. Only Boo was harmless in the book, and these people aren't so harmless. Earl, this is where Earl lives, man. What is Earl? What? This, Janie's camper is a step up. Cheese and rice, guys. Daniel's on leave from the fucking lumber mill with stress. He's stressed out because he can't quite get that recipe right for a shake and bake. Stressing him out. I don't know what this actually is in this circumstance. Like, I mean, sometimes things can seem worse. Did they go to the worst part of the house and take a picture and just put it in there? It's hard to believe that. Like, I mean, sometimes your storage shed can get in a state of disrepair, but I don't know what exactly this is supposed to be. It's an open-aired log cabin with no chink between the logs. Like, all of the outside critters can get in and lay up in there all day. Come on. Read you the section that I found interesting. Maori say the children were observed in public with family members. It was the last time that they were seen by anyone outside their home. There's a big indicator in the writer's language here already, where you're going with this. Daniel has said in an interview that the evening before the kids disappeared, everyone was home. He said he spent the evening working on the fence in the backyard with his baby Janie. It was at night, just like any other night for the young children, he added, though he couldn't remember what time they went to bed. Fucking neglect right there. Come on, man. You couldn't even hazard a guess? Something tells me it's a lie. There is, however, at least one account of strange activity at the mobile home that night. RCMP spokesman Corporal Carly McMahon confirmed that police received a tip on May 8th from a neighbor who described hearing a vehicle come and go from the mobile home throughout the night before the children were reported missing. Oh, shit. Of all the fucking people out there in the middle of nowhere, we've got somebody coming forward, and it's the neighbor. This is fairly significant. Investigators are continuing to review and assess more than 600 tips from the public and follow up on over 800 tasks. And when you're out there, when you live out in the boondocks like that, like out in a rural setting, you hear things differently. Like you can hear vehicles come and go and what's happening in your recent, especially in a hilly environment. Like it's twisty, it's hilly, somewhat back in there. Oh, you trust this guy. I trust this neighbor. And I trust Wade in the circumstance. Damning witness testimony. Making the circumstantial situation surrounding the night here so strong against Daniel and Malaya in this sense. And Janie. What did Janie have to do with everything? Is she being intimidated into this? It's hard to think that you could ever get through that thick head of hers. Maybe this little... I don't know what the fuck is tying all of these people together. The neighbors spoke to the Globe and Mail and said that they were working on a vehicle in their own yard when they heard the same loud 5-speed car come and go from the trailer about 6 times. About 6 times. That tells me that it has to be over... Well, he tells you it's over a 5-hour period. Oh, shit. That smells like Daniel transporting bodies and evidence and placing them in all different places around, which is fine. That gives you a really good area in which they have to be going to. A trip there and a trip back, trip there and a trip back, trip there and a trip back. He always returned to the home and always left from the home. 246. 3 different trips. Ron called Mom the morning of the disappearance because he was going in town. If Mom would have went with Ron, Mom would have never heard the kids. Oh my God, Daniel, you're such a fucking idiot, genius. That's how you know I never harmed the kids, and neither did Malaya. Well, look at all this information this asshole's volunteering. That's not even a good denial. Hey guys, you want to know how you guys want to know how you know that I didn't murder the two children that were here the night before and now they're gone? Because I said so. Is that going to be good enough for anybody? I don't think so. What are you saying in there? I got to see your opinion, the documentary about Murdered Billy and Chainsaw Charlie. The cone of silence in that county is so strong, you break it, you go missing. That sounds like some sexual assault stuff to me. That sounds like some weird, bizarre, inbred circular family tree type stuff. He's out there trying to convince somebody, anybody. And there'll be people there willing to accept it under the guise of getting some information out of them. Hurry up and arrest this son of a bitch. That's you, Janie. Ninchi put out a great video. How could Ron call with no call service on the property? Yeah. Well, I mean, they probably have Wi-Fi. Probably have Wi-Fi and you're using like a text now number, voice over internet protocol, VoIP. Maybe they don't have a data plan. Maybe it's, I don't know. It's hard really to say. It might be choppy out in the bush. Who knows? It's hard to believe that though. Between Truro and Halifax, there's no mobile signals. Well, first of all, that's bullshit because Starlink's up there. You can get communications out there, no problem at all if you want them for cheaper than you ever had before in the past. Right? There's no excuse not to have communications in that sense. But I mean, there's plenty of reasons not to have a mobile plan. Those fucking guys rob you blind. So maybe they have just like, who knows what they have. It's funny that they haven't volunteered that information to you, especially when it's all of this, all of these questions in that sense. Things to actually talk about. Well, they're more interested in talking about the bullshit narrative. I wonder what old Janie has to say about this car. She has something to say about the neighbor. This guy's been in trouble with the law before. You better not trust him. Oh, okay. That's what she said. Oh, Christine, you're saying Janie's concern during the interview was what the internet is saying. Ah, yeah. That, you mean the first one? You mean the one with the CBC? Yeah, she called them out there. Well, I believe that. She's concerned with what the internet is saying, but what it is that the internet is saying isn't aligned, right, with what she's saying. Nobody really cares about the sliding door. People are concerned about the kids. Listen, you guys are just so silly talking about my door not making noises like this. And she wants to associate it with the children voluntarily leaving the home. Like they do. Yeah, cell service is awful. You live near Kiji, Randy? There's all kinds of alternatives in that sense. But we don't know. But I don't know exactly. Like, I know I heard that from Nietzsche too. Actually, let me go pull that up. Let me see what Nietzsche did say about that. So hold on, let me just give you the overall of this article, what we're talking about here, and we'll pick it up. So Sonny was talking about this, but you can go out and search it on the Globe and Mail. But Sonny breaks it down. The details of the article describes Lansdowne as a remote, economically stagnant hamlet in Pictou County, Nova Scotia, with a population of 100. Located 150 kilometers northwest of Halifax, it paints a vivid picture of the area's isolation, surrounded by spruce forests, bogs, Earl's House, and abandoned mine shafts, with 1 in 5 children living in poverty. Jack and Lily lived in a rundown trailer with their mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, 27, who's a member of the Sipkek First Nation, stepfather Daniel Martel, 34, see what I did there? And baby sibling Meadow. The trailer was chaotic and holes in the floor, tarps protecting the underside, and a large wood stove dominating the living room. Great place to... You mean the incinerator. You mean the incinerator in this circumstance. The step-grandmother, Janie McKenzie, lived in a camper in the driveway due to the household's noise and disorder. This is in the fucking Globe and Mail article. Janie, what do you have to say to this, ma'am? Are you going to call and complain? Like, how is that normal? You guys are fucking out working on a fence, and there's holes in the goddamn floor. Tweaker 19. Holy Hannah. It's probably what they're doing is they're burning the old fence and building a new one. Keeping warm while they build a new fence. Oh. Sonny, okay, God bless her. So let me see. Article details continued. The details of this disappearance on May 2nd, 2025. Malaya marked Jack and Lily absent from school at 6:17 and 6:18 a.m., citing Lily's cough. The parents in this circumstance claimed that they heard the children playing in the next room or dozed off with their toddler, with Daniel stating he saw Lily at 9:40 a.m. They later noticed the children were gone, with Daniel claiming that they were outside playing unnoticed. Think about that suggestion. How can you be... Hey, Daniel, let me ask you this. How can you be outside playing unnoticed? Explain that to me. Either you noticed the children playing outside or you didn't. None of this overly suggestive but distancing language type shit. The fact that somebody's even bringing that up in the first place right away, you think that it would be, the third day in police training where you would start catching on to these sort of things when you come on a scene like this, right? There's no possible way any cop worth their salt who passed police academy would ever fucking miss Daniel's level of bullshit. I have a hard time believing it. Let me see here. Excuse me. Getting all wound up in my own mind. With Daniel claiming they were outside playing unnoticed. They're both suggesting that. Like, that is the most cockamamie nonsense shit. That's a real tell, in my opinion, right away. A child-sized boot print was found in the driveway. Just one. Ooh. Whoa, what does that tell us? And Jack's blue dinosaur boots, Lily's pink rubber boots, and her white strawberry backpack were missing. Malaya called 911 at 10:01 a.m., and Daniel searched nearby roads in a white SUV. A massive search involving volunteers, drones, helicopters, and police dogs followed, finding only a torn pink blanket, believed to be Lily's, an entire kilometer away on Lansdowne Road. Goes on to speak about the home life and warning signs. The article suggests the children's home life was troubled with potential neglect or instability. The trailer's poor condition, Daniel's financial struggles, example, an inoperable black sedan, and his stress leave from the hardwood mill are noted. Poor baby Daniel. Probably comes from Janie not hugging him enough as a kid. You can bet on that. Malaya had distanced herself from Belinda Gray due to Daniel's controlling behavior. Malaya had distanced herself from Belinda Gray due to Daniel's controlling behavior. That's such a powerful statement to be put in a publication like that. Belinda Gray. Malaya had distanced herself from Belinda Gray due to Daniel's controlling behavior. Preventing visits and withholding the trailer's address. Don't worry, Belinda, you weren't missing much. But it's always a reason that you can go and pick the kids up in that circumstance. Preventing visits and withholding the trailer's address. Community members suspect Daniel's involvement, giving him dirty looks. Well, he is a redhead. It's probably just because you're different like that. Satan's child. Search efforts. It goes on to talk about search efforts and community response. This search was one of Nova Scotia's largest, involving volunteers, police drones, and heat-sensing helicopters, or classified technology, if you were to ask Daniel. Police thoroughly searched the trailer, camper, and nearby properties, including those of Daniel's father, Earl Martell, and Belinda Gray. Malaya and Daniel pushed for an Amber Alert, claiming the children's undiagnosed autism made them vulnerable to strangers. But the RCMP declined due to insufficient evidence of abduction. Oh, does that say so much in the moment? It sounds to me that the RCMP had a lot more of an idea as to what was up and what's going to go on than old Daniel does. A neighbor's tip about a vehicle or about vehicle activity, not detailed in this segment, but referenced in other documents, is alluded to as new information. This is new information because now that it's out like this and recognized in a national publication, we can make it tangible. We can make the connection and trust it. Therefore, we recognize and going in the right direction. Sorry, Durwood. Derp. Let's see. Family dynamics and accusations. Malaya messaged Belinda on May 2nd expressing distress and suggesting the children ran off or were abducted. Family tensions escalated with accusations of, we'll call it math, but you know what I'm talking about, use in the home. Daniel initially denied the pink blanket was Lily's, raising suspicions. Belinda's estrangement from Malaya. What do you think about this article there, Cheryl? Christine? You pink-haired psychic beach friend? Due to Daniel's control meant she was unaware of the children's living conditions until the search. So Malaya obviously gave her the address. She was withholding the address up until the day of the search. Holy shit. Hey, Belinda, why don't you head on up to Earl's house and see if the kids aren't up there? Maybe check under their toys in the shed. Let me know if you see them. Holy Hannah, that would have put nightmares in that woman's head. That place is a fucking... Oh my God. Listen, you guys don't have to have money to live in a clean way. All right? There's other things going on here. Christians call it sloth. And then some. But it's all self-induced because everybody's hooked on something up over there, whether it's Timu, or the amphetamines. Oh my God. So I got that information out of Sonny's live stream. Let me see here. That's just a breakdown of the overall article. They're talking about it this morning, hours ago. Let me scroll up a little bit. Let me go see what you're saying, actually. Hold on. I'm back over here. To get out and into reading. What are you saying there, Drippy? Mama Angie, I think there might be a few things in the article mixed up. They were said, but not necessarily together or by who they were saying said it. Well, you're expecting way too much. This is an article of an ongoing investigation. Where's Mama Angie? What did she say? No, it's not coming forward at this late stage, Paula W. They were out in the very beginning. They called the cops. It said in the article 2 days after the kids went missing to report this. It's being verified and recognized in the media at this point in time. But during the interviews, everybody on the media, they all knew it on the ground about this particular report. And it was talked about, but nobody really acknowledged it in the media. Or the RCMP didn't acknowledge it. He's not coming out now and asking people to believe him in that sense. You're misunderstanding. Get your screen recorder. Look at what else it said. Here, hold on. Paula, go get your screen recorder and you can screen record this. you can clip this. Clip that. That should answer all your questions. Daniel's been suppressing it. He's been avoiding it, but referencing this vague neighbor who probably, this is where the rumor about a rug party the night before or that particular night came from, all of the traffic in and out. It's been talked about, but not really to the point where you can understand what it was. It was just talk in that sense. Daniel was busy denying it and acknowledging it on the CBC interview by saying, oh, that's just somebody trying to get the heat off themselves, as though everybody else recognized that somebody was just out there spreading malicious rumors against him. And it just happens to be the only person within square kilometers that can be a witness to the fucking crime. Yeah, that's who it is. It's his goddamn neighbor. And they're withholding the particular individual's evidence. But at this time, he was probably talking to the individuals writing the article. Do you know what I'm saying? So the person writing the article got in direct contact with this particular individual through putting two and two together, I would expect, through listening to It's a Criming Shame. I think that's where it was kind of alluding to in the article in the breakdown. But it's not like somebody coming out now. Like at this point, having somebody come out and clarify their statements to the police because the information that you're getting has all been tainted by that stupid son of a bitch double child murderer Daniel Martel. All right? In my opinion. I'm not even worried about using that. How about you show me you're not? Even the Globe and Mail article acknowledges Daniel as being a complete and utter desperate, disgusting individual who acted. Daniel, meanwhile, was tearing through the woods on foot and wading in streams, telling people he was moving faster than the police helicopters. That day, carloads of family members pulled up to help search. In mid-afternoon, a non-encrypted radio channel crackled with voices of emergency responders. Families brought us to a location there, not far away. There's a piece of blanket which the mother says she believes belongs to her daughter. That's Lily. Radioed an official. A kilometer away. Oh, look at that. With the new carload of family. This is really a productive search over here. Look what we did. That would strongly indicate that it's a bit of a stage scenario. Mommy Angie, you're going to get a copy of that paper? It's probably worth it. They have got a fairly decent write-up about it. And it talks all about, to Malaya's grandparents, who are older and being exploited in this circumstance by Malaya in that sense over time, and it represents them fairly nice. But it's what they allude to in it that's most interesting. It's they capture the essence, but what they allude to here is very, very important, because what it does is allow us to speculate in a more concise, accurate, factual manner every single time. And guess who doesn't want that? The suspects. Who's the suspects? The same suspects that have always been there. Daniel, Malaya, and we've got to figure out Janie's role in all of this. Fucking Janie. What in the hell is going up on over there, man? What a mind-blowing event. Listen, Barbara, there's only one reason to be lying in a circumstance like this. People want to go through every single little nonsensical thing, and Daniel loves to... Listen, the only thing you're avoiding here is looking like a child killer. That's it. In fact, you gave it away when you get up on the CBC and tell everybody that you didn't kill Jack and Lily. Ain't nobody been saying that until that point. Because like in any situation, you know that something's up, but you give them the benefit of the doubt until you can't give them the benefit of the doubt anymore. And that period didn't last very long with this tweaker. Everything that he's denied has really turned out to be true. How many more times do you need to be lied to by this son of a bitch? The only reason to lie is to hide your own culpability in all of this, to be so brash and in your face and trying to play reverse psychology and look at, I'm being so transparent, volunteering all of these fucking things that may or may not be relevant, therefore I must be innocent. And here's another baseless, empty reason that I'm not guilty of hurting Jack and Lily. So he's really telling you that he's desperate and out there for you to think that he didn't hurt Jack and Lily. An innocent person, even if you were being accused of that, doesn't act like that. There is show me something that might put plausible deniability or a little. It's not simply the motion that's important. No, Tommy, it's just you. I'm not muted. Where did I go? I'm right here, bro. I'm here. I just stopped talking. Oh, heaven's sakes. Hold on here. Maybe go check my connection. Let me check my connection. Is everything okay? Looks okay. Excellent connection, it says. Fantastic, then. Oh, boy. So the Globe and Mail's articles are titled, "A Picture Emerges of Missing Children's Lives," but not something. There's two of them. So expect more to be coming out. This is really progressive. The RCMP probably have a hand in all of this, I would imagine. Trying to put a little bit of stress, and this is how you can use the media against especially suspects at this point in the circumstance. He spent so long, so hard trying to establish a false narrative out here in social media, engaging with certain people, anybody, in order to get them to believe something that you listen to is just completely evil. There's no possible way, we understand that these are human beings at the end of the day, and human beings make mistakes. But we're all here to judge his honesty in this circumstance, and he's the one that's putting himself out here in a biblical way and failing miserably in the circumstance every single time. Dude has to be a tweaker. Thank God you're on that stuff. Nobody's this dumb. So crazy it just might work. It's like a Fred Flintstone scenario. Anyway, what's going on, Mr. Hemi? Also, Janie put herself and her other son in the equation as well. Faye Galuzzi, welcome in. You're absolutely correct in all of that. Like, they're in this as well. They're going to be sucking some of these charges as well. Like, how many other people are involved? Maybe one. Now, how did he get hold of this vehicle? Maybe he just went and borrowed one in the middle of the night. Was it one of Janie's brother's vehicles? What sort of loop are they, like, what else is going on in that environment that bonds them all together like this? One thing, listen, speaking about Malaya for a second, I don't want you to, before I start, I don't want you to think that I'm offering up any sort of I'm not siding with her in this circumstance, but she, above and beyond anybody, when you go back and you look over all that's occurred, you have every right to be upset at her. However, she, in all of this, can be a perpetrator and a victim. And how she plays all of this in light of what just occurred the night before, meaning a double child murder of her own children, is a fairly significant, traumatizing event to a degree, and can make you act a certain sort of way, which would result in how shaken she looked in front of the camera first thing, trying to set out whatever story that Daniel and Janie have concocted up and put in her fucking head. Malaya, in this circumstance, has no power, no control in that environment, is being made to be put through the motions. All right? Yeah, she's guilty of neglect. We can identify that at this point. It makes us feel bad, gives us sad feels. But it would account for some of her behavior after the fact. Because, listen, this dude just fucking murdered 2 children. You're in the middle of it. You've got to walk on eggshells. You've got to be very careful about how you proceed, because how the hell do you know that he's not going to up and do the same to you in order to get away with something? Listen, here he kills one kid and then kills the other kid in front of everybody else and pulls them in that way. Maybe they were a witness to something. And through this weird dynamic of control and power, he's pulled them all into this just by them all living under the same roof, so to speak. It's all fine and dandy now to say you live in that old shitty 35-foot trailer when the kids go missing, right? It's all fine to say that, yeah, we don't live in that fucking trailer. What goes on up there, I have no idea about. After learning how decrepit in the state of disrepair it was in, I wonder what sort of environment it was. I don't. They were probably... Listen, it's your living environment is the contributing to your stress, Daniel. He's away on stress leave. Something's bothering him. Could it be the fact that you're living like a goddamn caveman in 2025? You get out there and take a walk and put a smile on your face and get happy. Why, this ongoing resentment of, whatever was going on in that house. I want that whatever to be the condition, the decrepit, the holes in the floor, the fact that there's animals living in the wall, there's tarps over everything, things are leaking. Daniel's out working on the fucking fence with his mom. Like, over a period of 2 years, and he keeps making all of these promises. He keeps saying things are going to get better. Dude, your place is falling apart, and you're dressing up the outside of your house in a way that is just beyond me. It just looks like a skid, like a shipping skids put up on their end and nailed together. It's fucking ridiculous. You could have repaired your home. You could have painted it up, and at the end of the day, felt good about it. It's like cleaning up your environment. Cleaning all the shit underneath your couch. I'm reminding you all the stuff I have to do now. Everybody has to go through it. Everybody's got to clean at some point. Everybody's got to look after themselves in that circumstance. So that has to be, and you can see that would have been part of what was going on and whatever they were arguing about. I would have to say that, one, it's no place to be raising a baby at that point in time. You're not even considering the environment and the environmental factors of the child. Dust, mold, mildew, open to the elements. Doesn't matter how hot you got that wood stove burning. Now you've got to factor in carbon monoxide in that little environment. Shouldn't be a problem because there's so many goddamn holes over everything, but still. Children still found a way to disappear. So the contributing things, so the Janie's, it sort of says Janie and Justin were living out in that, that's so weird, living together in that that RV just to get away from Daniel and Malaya and the kids. Yeah, it's too busy of a household. There's 2 adults, 3 children. You know, it'd be nice to have a little bit of room, lots of noise. So it tells you right away they had a problem with the kids. That's all the reason. Now, why you can joke about it and say, why the hell would you want to fight to be living back in that shitty trailer? But it's still a thing, right? They're still impeding on their space and their territory. There's resentment within that. Like, what sort of weird dynamic is this? It's not a loving family that is all together because they love one another. They're all codependent for whatever reason. I wonder if it revolves around whatever addictions are going on in the background. It could be anything like that. Maybe she's a lover of vodka. I don't know. The cheap stuff. It'll be something. Something's really bizarre. If you don't like your environment, it's up to you to improve it, not somebody else. You have to make that decision. It doesn't look like they were really making any decision. They were out there digging up the ground and leveling. Who knows what the hell they were doing? But they were neglecting their home in that sense. What else were they neglecting in the home? Yeah, Randy McLean, good point. People are talking about that, and at some point, it's going to be interesting. Not looking to hate on them, but you know, CPS in this environment couldn't recognize certain things. Like, at what threshold do you have to get to before you make a bit of a move here? I wonder if the move into the RV has more to do with this Children's Aid investigation than anything else, because of the need for the children to have space. That they have to have a certain amount of square footage space there in order to actually live, like with the children. Oh, no problem. We'll bring in an old fucking decrepit RV and Mom can move into that. Great. No wonder Janie doesn't like the kids. Yep. There's a bit of resentment. Justin and Janie have no problem getting rid of these son of a bitches, because it means they get their old rooms back in that decrepit old trailer. It's that simple. It's come down to this. It's like Hunger Games. Lord of the Flies out there in Pictou County. I appreciate you, Hey Jude. Good to see you, by the way. Yeah, you can see the writing on the wall, all right, can't you? Tammy Burke, AB, also 3 and a 5-year-old need separate rooms. Not really. No, Christ, no. Well, you can have those kids can sleep 3, 4. You can sleep 10 kids in a room if you wanted to. If you had that many beds in one. Not saying you should, but technically, no, that's nothing like that, Tammy. A bedroom, what do you think they make bunk beds for? 2 kids. 2 kids in one room. It's a space saver. You probably want to separate the toddlers and the baby, because the newborn baby needs rest, needs sleep. It's a place where you can put the baby down in its bassinet or its crib and close the door and go about your business, not worry about waking it up. In that trailer, it's pretty difficult. Holy Hannah. Why the fuck? Why would you even go back there? I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff that we're going to have to figure out in an indirect manner, because we can't get the information from Daniel or Malaya. I can understand why Malaya wanted to get the hell out of up that place. She mentioned that in a text. I believe it was from Belinda right away in the beginning. Actually, it's right here. But she mentioned that she never wanted to be there in the first place. That I can believe. That's not hard to believe. Holy shit. Have you ever lived in a house that was falling down? An older house that needed, to be fixed up? It's like, holy shit. Well, it sucks to put yourself through it. It affects your mental health. It affects your confidence. It's like hygiene in that sense. Kind of going through that process too. My house is old. Every time I turn around, I got to paint something or make something look a little better. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's a law. You can go and search that up there, Kimmer0015. I'm in Ontario. I'd never even heard of that. These are a 4 and a 6-year-old. It's not really an issue. I don't really care about whether or not it is. Usually do that naturally anyway. Maybe there is something to that, especially if they think that there's something wrong or if there's a problem. But I don't know. You can go and search that. Search Google and tell me better. It is true, AB, but it's age dependent. Yeah, I would imagine it's age dependent. You don't want it like a 13-year-old in there with a 6-year-old in that sense. It's inappropriate. So there probably is something. There is something in the law. I just don't have it on the top of my head. I never had to think about it that way. Yeah, it's tough to enforce, Joe. Case dependent. Bonnie Randall, a certain person is a sacred cow? Do you say a sacred or scared cow? But the coincidence is interesting nonetheless. What did I miss? Faye's talking about the only thing that you can think the RCMP is not processed to arrest yet is because they wait for the electronics to close. Oh yeah, listen, getting electronic evidence in the circumstance isn't quick. Let alone analyzing it when you get it back. So we're in that process. So they've got all of these stories and all of these answers, okay? We're at the part of the investigation where, all right, you've got as much information as you really can get without it getting rhetorical, or you're at a point, and you need the electronic information and all of the forensics to come back, among other things. Really, you have to build something against them in a solid way in your own mind before you're going to move for arrest. So they've got some time. They were given the courtesy of the benefit of the doubt by law enforcement. That's for sure. We're mad about that. That's what we react to, and people react to out here in that sense. That's understandable. Considering that we're coming to realize that really we've been scammed, we've been conned by this motherfucker. Yeah, Lori. In the meantime, Daniel professes his innocence, and he's out there championing with Janie just how innocent they are in the circumstance, with total disregard over any of factual information with what would otherwise be a missing child case in this circumstance. It's anything but a missing child case. They avoid talking about those circumstances and everything, especially these circumstantial claims, especially by the neighbor, Wade. No wonder Cindy didn't want to talk. And they're probably afraid for their safety to a degree, thinking and having question about whether or not, if something does happen, that's even going to be investigated properly. And remember, when you're made to disappear, a missing is worse than being, than anything, because of the unanswers, and nobody can really do anything in the meantime on your behalf. And Daniel, and she knows, meaning Malaya and Cindy and Daniel, or they know that Daniel is what he's capable of in this circumstances. High, he's got to be terrifying to a degree, especially through the conditioning and the situation that she's been trying to go through, being pulled between. Excuse me, hold on. That's okay. Being pulled between this individual whom has been leading her on to an extent, knocked her up. She's got a child with him now, and she's trying to do the right thing, but every time she turns around, things just get crazier and more chaotic and out of control, which is the exact opposite thing you need for a baby, those toddlers. Got all the motive in the world, and things really kick off when Malaya is deciding to move. Like, yeah, we want to hate on her in that circumstance, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't up to her to murder her children in this circumstance. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm open to being wrong. And I'm open to holding her accountable. But I'm just trying to hypothesize in a circumstance how things can get way out of control, just based off the things that we're unable to figure out because the parents have either clammed up or have opened up with 100% bullshit lies. Like, she was probably a prisoner in that environment as well. You can't get any help from Janie, and he's got this constant wingman, his little brother Justin, in the picture, looking down and judging every fucking thing at every point. Pretty soon, you've completely changed. You're not making the decisions anymore, and those decisions needed to be been made by Malaya. Was she suffering from addiction during this time as well? We don't know for a fact, but we're assuming she is involved in dabbling, just based on, well, the indicators of neglect and how malleable she is in going along with some sort of cockamamie plan to bullshit all of the RCMP in the world into your kids walking away and disappearing. I've got no doubt when she presented this to the media in the middle by the terms that she was using, the term we, when she's using this particular term, it would indicate that there was an organized, rehearsed story to give everybody. And who would have been rehearsing with Malaya before she spoke? Daniel. The we is her and her partner, not her and her husband. She couldn't wait to fucking block him off of everything as soon as she left. That's because she knew that son of a bitch just murdered her kids less than 24 hours before. And is threatening harm on her, and she's going to be next, potentially, if she says fucking anything. I'm going to do the talking. You're going to be held just as accountable as me. This is your fault. Even more reason in that moment to put blame back on them. That's just the way it goes around there. They blame everything on the kids. It's never never them. They never talk about it in that sense. I'm here to tell you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. I got no reason to lie. You've got every reason to lie in this circumstance. What a strong indicator, what a tell that is what you guys really may have done in this circumstance. That's so sad and terrifying. Those poor children went through hell. And Janie couldn't give a shit. She doesn't give a shit about anybody but her and her little brood there. Or that's right, Lori Lynn Meadow. Meadow can't talk yet, though, so she's young enough not to spill the tea, spill the beans. Whatever was done in front of Malaya, probably, or around everybody else. Nothing could have happened in that trailer that would have gotten by anybody else living on that property. It's not like it's a completely sealed off, hermetically sealed environment where it's soundproofed and things can go by undetected. Hell to the no. The fucking place got holes in the floor and the wall. You hear everything. Everything. That neighbor certainly heard everything. Heard that goddamn car go up and down that highway, changing gears 6 times over the course of 5 hours. God damn, is that so solid? What do you say about that there, Daniel? Oh, he's just covering for himself. That guy steals from everybody around here except from me. Like? So he's out there actively trying to discredit him. And he's been doing this way back since the beginning, before we even recognized why it was even important. It was just something else he was disagreeing with at that point. Now that we know what it is, it makes a little bit more sense now, doesn't it? How many more of those are coming down the line? Fact verified, courtesy of the RCMP, I would think, at some point. Because at some point, the Globe and Mail at least contacted the RCMP to run their story by them in order to get some sort of comment on it. So who knows where that particular conversation went at that point in time. You see the sort of mind games that they're playing with you, Daniel? We play them out here as well. Only it's not as high profile, as you can imagine. Oh, shit. Oh, Daniel. It never ceases to amaze me. I've never experienced somebody so brazen in their attempt to try to get away with something so easily solvable in the circumstance. When I say easily, you can come to the determination that he's done something solvable, not like legally proven in court necessarily. We all know the discrepancies. That's not my point here. But you don't often see a guilty person, just so stupidly engage without any actual rationale. Like, he's really trying to sell everybody with flawed logic, no context, and just trust me type of thing. In the moment, every step of the way. That tells you really the overall reasoning why he did it. So you could get yourself out of the moment. And that's really what's buying him this time. Under the guise of trying to help the investigation in that sense. Well, you're helping all right. You're not doing everything, are you, son? Corey Edwards, I wish she had left as well in December. There's probably more times than that, all right? Something popped. Something escalated to a point. Over the course of the last 2 years, as life had progressed there, and Daniel, doesn't matter if he was keeping it on the DL, it's pretty hard to keep your behavior and your bizarreness on the down low when you're tweaking out like that, Daniel. It's out in the open. People can tell there's a real change in your behavior. There's a change in the way you look, the way you act, the way you speak, the way you treat people especially. Let me pull this up, friends. Let me pull this up. Just un momento. The hell is going on here? I've got several new favorite channels. I'm going through that phase again. We're discovering new creators I really enjoy, and I'm going to pass them on to you. If you are a fan of statement analysis, and the most of you that come in here are, we miss Peter Hyatt, and there's a void to fill. Here's Mike's latest. That's Mike Demand's latest. Uh-oh, how did I do that? Oh, for crying out loud. I'll have to share that again. What the fuck happened there? By the way, take a moment if you haven't and hit that thumbs up for me. It helps me out in the algorithm. I never ask you. But it really actually does help. You can thumbs down it too if you want. It doesn't bother me. But do something with those thumbs. It helps me out. So here's Mike Demands. The reason I'm putting this in here is because he's got a great breakdown of... We're going to watch it right now. He has a little statement from Janie talking about... At 31:37, he's got Janie talking about this neighbor. All right.
The neighbor, yes, was the one that said we had the party. And to take the heat off of him, yes.
Yeah.
Because he's been in trouble before with the law.
So? We don't care.
Yes. He knows he knew that Jack and Lily lived here because the kids went in the same bus together. He has 2 boys. And yes, the RCMP probably did question him. No, Malaya was not close to any of the neighbors. Nobody came here to visit Malaya, not even her friends, only her grandmother and her mother every now and then, and her half-brother, Hayden.
So, no surprise. That was the neighbor who said they had a rock party. So he heard people coming in and out. He heard a vehicle coming in and out all night. So he assumed, well, knowing what Daniel is like, he figured, yeah, they're having a party there. That
Yes, was the one that said we had the party. And to take the heat off of him, yes.
Yeah.
Because he's been in trouble before with the law.
So? We don't care.
Yes.
It's funny how Janie tries to discredit him. That cracks me up a little bit. So yeah, you would have to put 2 and 2 together and think that they're aware of the neighbor's claims of these because they've been confronted by the RCMP over them, you would think. Yeah, you can't trust you, Slim Pickens. You've got a speeding ticket 22 years ago? Yeah, I got a speeding ticket in 1995 in the Trans-Canada. Scofflaw. I'm a real scofflaw. It was like $110 back then. Yeah, a rock party. No, I think he was saying a rug party. R-U-G. It's not a rock, but a rug party in that sense. Knowing that what Daniel was all about. What the hell would Daniel have over there that is worth stealing in the first place? People don't even want your 4-wheeler, dude. It's shit. Dude, it's a rat's nest. What in the hell are you going to steal from that place that hasn't already been at the dump? It's not even joking. Ain't nobody want anything over there. Heaven's sakes. Yeah, Bonnie Randall. I do like Mike Demand, by the way. He's good. Very good statement analysis. Everybody that focuses on statement analysis is usually pretty solid. Yeah, the neighbor stealing what? Well, of course there's no examples, Drippy. Don't have time for examples. This is about Jack and Lily, not the neighbor. That's really been the tactic the entire time. Oh, thank you very much for keeping this all about Jack and Lily. When they mean Jack and Lily, they mean the false narrative that they've been presenting through the media for the past month or so. We don't usually get all of the... Well, it's hard to say that. There's no possible way that old Daniel didn't have anything to do with these kids going missing. I'm sorry to hear that, Margaret Johnson. A lot of people can relate to that. Maybe not on the Jack and Lily extent, because it's a goddamn horror movie set over there. It is terrible, dude. I used to give him the benefit of the doubt, saying maybe he's going through it. Maybe he's cleaning it up. Not anymore. Even the Globe and Mail, it's talking about the holes in your trailer floor, dude. Like, come on. That sucks. That sucks. Boy, they're really piling the car. Like, maybe they're piling on Daniel. Come on now. Yeah, Teresa, that's a lie. They knew that the neighbors were making a statement. That's why they say that. Right. They're trying to discredit him, essentially. Even Daniel stating it's the children are found. He's missing 2 shirts. Right. By the way, when you do find them, and there's 2 shirts of mine with them, probably what they're buried in. Malaya took those from me. It's Malaya's fault. Everything in this circumstance reeks of guilty knowledge. And they are not budging, from the cop standpoint. They wouldn't budge on the bullshit stories. They don't want to add any context. They're becoming uncooperative, I think the term would be. They're uncooperative in that sense. You probably don't need them to be all that much cooperative. The fact that they're giving you such inconsistent statements and things like this, and not giving you, but making inconsistent statements in a public forum, has nothing to do with the statement that you initially gave them, or even your conversations. The fact that they're different is all the courts really require to demonstrate the fact that you're making inconsistent statements publicly about this situation to a point where it's a concern. Listen, these are kids are missing, and the first thing that you came out and did was tell us that your initial story was false. Malaya was on the run with Meadow, putting all the blame on her with this fictitious story about the rehoming the kids under your nose. So you would have to think that the key to all of this is the resentment. The resentment, and it fell onto the children because they are, of course, extensions of Malaya. And his anger and angst towards Malaya, especially when he gets all worked up about her living, because of the fact that he's a douchebag and the place is a fucking dive. Like, why wouldn't you stay? It's just natural to want to leave an environment like that. Not to mention the dude's being a tweaker and he's a complete fucking idiot. Like, it's about time the party stops here. I'm out of here. Every time that he's acknowledged, every time that Malaya has indicated she's wanted to leave, or these conversations between her and Cindy, her mother, which are probably ongoing, has everything to do with the same thing. How the kids are doing, how she's doing in that environment. She's so used to lying because she doesn't want anybody to get concerned. Everything's all right when things aren't actually all right. She's just isolating herself away from her family, but talking to them. You're being dishonest in that circumstance, in that sense. Because you were hoping things would get better. The hopium. I think it was probably one more than the other, but time will tell, Esther. I'm just trying to imagine the types of, or the scenario as to why they always fought. And it would have been over the same things. And then she'd feel bad. She'll feel bad after, she's done emoting and they're done fighting. Maybe he's done holding her down, restricting her movement in a violent manner. Why is he so set on her staying there, I wonder? Because it was, having Meadow with her was like a license for him to instill some sort of control over her, I would have to expect. If Meadow wasn't in the picture, he probably wouldn't be as controlling or much of an asshole, because he's probably got some sort of bizarre sort of way of how family life should be, considering what Janie and Earl look like and what they're doing. Are you fucking serious? Who knows what he thinks is normal or healthy? The fact that it's ambiguous is a bit of a concern. That would be a contributing factor. No clear set rules when it comes to parenting or things like this. Oh yeah, Mom Angels. Those shirts were found in Daniel's house. He said that a week or so ago. What an idiot. Oh, I found those sweaters that I couldn't find. Well, it's not a big surprise that they were lost to begin with in that rat's nest. Heaven's sakes. Good to see you, Janie Doe. Oh, boy. Drippy, whose brother's a loser? But she seemed... I don't know who you're talking about. You're talking to somebody else. It's okay. Oh, what else do we got? There's this article. We've got all kinds of conversations going. Let me see. So there's Earl's place. Like, what the fuck is going on with this? I wonder which room's his. This is a bit terrifying. When you have access to a house like this, this would be the first place I would think of going to bury a body, wouldn't it be you? It's like, I do know a place. Maybe the ATV, is it a vehicle I wonder he heard, or was it the ATV, 6-speed ATV with some exhaust on it? Was he pumping out around, or was it a vehicle car that he heard? Just the engine with the gears shifting? I don't know. Black Opal's asking if Daniel was using the ATV to move the children. It means they're not that far away. Well, listen, when you start and you don't know where to start, this is a lot better. Like when you're trying to locate, knowing the vehicle, trying to identify it at least a little bit, or getting some sort of information, it gives you an idea of where you need to kind of keep your ear towards. Getting in contact with that neighbor, like in real time. That would be probably somebody's best bet. Ask him some questions about what it exactly was. That way you could start to think of the intervals where they came and went. Like, did you hear them in quick successions, or was it all the same, or were they all different? It sounds like it was all the same vehicle, coming and going 6 times throughout that night. Was it a car's engine, or was it a 4-cycle? Was it 2-cycle? Was it a bike? Was it what? What's it exactly here? We don't know that. Ironing down the timeline, or maybe talking to somebody who knows him or knows, that would be interesting, because you could get a good picture of how far you could go at a certain speed. Let's say the speed limit, where does a half an hour take you by roads, and come up with a short list. And then it's a place to start, right? Especially that the dude makes mistakes and he's got to come back. Well, we're just assuming he's forgot something, mind you. But he comes back, and he does that over and over again throughout the night. You can get, having those time frames from that guy, you can get a fairly accurate description as to where we're suspecting those bodies are. Considering that that's where and what was going on with all of those trips. You got to get rid of evidence, bodies, 2 bodies. Maybe you had to borrow they had all kinds of digging equipment there. Look at what they've been doing. So did you break a fucking shovel? Did you have to come back and get another one? Did you have to get a pick? Like, how deep are you going? He would probably know where there's all kinds of loose soil, easy to dig, especially if you're familiar with places like this old shithole. That's not, people aren't going back in there. Was your neighbor going back in there to steal? I doubt it. Back in there to dump his shit. That'd be about it. I didn't want to tell you about that. Somebody's been killed in there. I can just feel it. But that's what you always think when you come into shit rat nests like this. What can we see here? What kind of shit do you got in here? A couple ashtrays, it looks like there. Is that a hatchet? Looks like there's an old, there's rifles in this little, is that what it looks like to you? Or maybe it's part of a padding or something. GT Snow Racer? Won't be needing those anytime. Must be for his kids. Let's come over here and... what the hell that is? Looks like a range unit from a kitchen. You know, like the fans that suck out the range hoods? Old remnants of a range hood. Remnants of a stove right there. Is that a stove? Actually, Earl probably still lives here. He's just in the back right there. Earl, this is actually Earl's living room. Earl, is this your living room? What in the hell is going on with him? He'll never... there's not hoarders. There's just living like a homeless man in somebody else's place. I don't even know what to call that. That's fucking lazy, bro. Jesus Christ. I thought George Costanza was lazy. This is fucking lazy. Let's see. I don't even know what to tell you with that. Maybe somebody who read the article actually can tell you. I know that that's Earl's place, but, you know, I would have a hard time believing that Earl lives in the beautiful house out front and they came back and took pictures of the shitty parts of the home. Why is that a feature? I don't know. A dump yard, junkyard. Well, we can see what Janie saw in you. There's hope and potential there. Yeah, Drippy, that's lazy. And it doesn't fall far from the tree. You can see that sort of laziness in the early pictures with the mattresses behind the trailer outside, just on the lawn. Oh my God. Heaven's sakes. I love this statement. I think she's quoting Daniel here. The commander of the operations pulled me aside after the day Malaya left and told me, we now see you as primary guardian of the kids, and everything we tell you is more detailed and much longer than the 2-minute phone calls we have with Malaya. This is Daniel's statement, man. Daniel was able to bypass any legal proceedings and take custody of the 2 missing children just so that he can look a little more virtuous in front of the people he speaks to. Wow. Well, Canadian law works in wondrous ways. Like, what a fucking idiot. This is the type of shit that this guy is walking around saying. How can he not be guilty? Like, why does he have the need to make himself look even better? Not even just look, hey, not even to create a little bit of reasonable doubt in your minds as to who the hell the guilty parties are here. He goes completely the other way and wants to make it look like he's just the man of the year, the father of the year, and he did everything in their lives. Everything, yeah, you did, including killing them. You did everything. We get what you were meaning by that there, Daniel. You took care of the kids. Absolutely, you took care of their bodies over the course of those 6 trips in 5 hours. Now we know why you're so goddamn tired and sleeping in half the fucking morning, because you're up all night. Man, oh man, we can figure this shit out on our own. But it's nice to have RCMP's verification on things, of course. You don't know about Pictou County, but in Harris County, you can put one household item out bi-weekly. Could be a fridge, AC, sofa. They take anything. Absolutely. That's so you don't have fucking trap houses like this around all the place and rodent problems and things like this. It gets out of hand. It's easier to include it, and they come around. You just put it out, and they come and pick it up. It's called curb pickup. We have that, like, pretty sure in the city you can do it whenever you want, but I'm pretty sure they're all rules. I just don't know them. You just put them by the curb, and they pick it up, bro. That's it. Yeah, Daniel, Mama Angie here wants to remind you, dummy, that they don't give unmarried step-parents or boyfriends of the mother any sort of guardianship, especially in the circumstance. The fact that you bring that up, like, this is recent, and he's lying like this. Son, there's no point in lying anymore. There's no point in even saying anything. You should shut your mouth and let your lawyer do the talking. No finding solace. You put an air mattress and they didn't pick it up. You had to take it yourself to the landfill. Yeah, maybe that's right. You're isolated. I don't know. Every municipality is a little different, probably in that sense, but they generally have something. Maybe in the rural areas, it's once a month. They usually send out a little calendar, a schedule, if you will. Mine in the city is fucking ridiculous. Here in the city is so stupid. So stupid. They switched everybody over to having less garbage pickup in the city, but giving you a plastic container that is for food waste. So in their way of thinking, if you cut down the food waste, then nobody has anything to throw out at the end of the day. Considering the recycling programs are a scam, a con, they just get thrown in the garbage anyway. What is it exactly you're really doing? Now, really, I've got more garbage around the house because it gets picked up less frequently. Only can get 2 bags. Only can have a little bit of garbage per household. It's so fucking bullshit. It's bullshit. I buy the great big construction grade bags and stuff things in it. These guys. I've never once used my food, your food waste bin. They pick that up every week. Oh, yeah, they got it every week. You guys will come pick up your food waste. Look, dude, do you know the prices of groceries? There ain't no food waste around this house. We eat everything. Anything else, what's the harm of it being in the garbage? It helps accelerate the breakdown and decomposition of everything else. These people are such fucking... You know what it is. You guys know what it is. It's all this bullshit, right? We won't go that far. I'm just venting. Yeah, you live in a rural area. You got it once a week, don't you? I know. It should be once a week. Like, you don't want garbage accumulating. No, it's once every 2 weeks now in the fucking city. It's even stinkier than before. And they somehow have replaced it with their food waste bins. Like, everybody has all of this food waste to throw out, right? Like, who the hell is throwing out all of this food to begin with? Did you cook too much? No, I can't figure it out. Like, do that downtown and maybe in the down part of the city. But, I mean, now you've got this disgusting fucking bin filled with food out and about. All of these rodents and animals can get into it and will get into it because those bins break down. So silly. They're newly designed. They're so stupid. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, you didn't have to reinvent the wheel. In fact, you needed to do your goddamn jobs in the begin with. You need to pick up the garbage more. You need to pay them whatever they want and continue on. But no. Makes the city nasty. Micromanaging something that doesn't need to be micromanaged. Guess what? The more people you have, the more garbage you're going to have. Who are all the people buying all of this overpriced shit food that they end up throwing out in the first place? Like, it's not like there's that many wealthy individuals and they outweigh the poor people in that sense, even though that is a thing. But not to the point of giving everybody these green food waste bins. It's the stupidest idea in the world. Dumbest fucking idea. Especially when you don't sort the garbage or do anything with it anyway, except throw it out. Half the half of the products they don't even pick up anymore because they have got chemicals in them. So they go right in the garbage right directly. So it's just so stupid. City of London Mayor. You know what I'm talking about? Who is that? Moma and Angie. Oh yeah, are you from London too? I don't even know any of them. I don't want to know them. Fucking shit. I'm going to run for mayor of London, Ontario based on that alone, and I bet you I could fucking beat these clowns. Not that I would want that job. You know how easy it would be to manage all of the problems in a city? It would be fairly easy to make the right decisions, if you know what I'm saying. Because the scenarios that are presented are so nouveau and globalist in agenda. Just going back to the way things used to be and calling it something different might be a progression. Anyway, I don't want... Yeah, garbage should be once a week for every household. Absolutely it should. They want to shame you for making it. They want to condition you out there to make it look like you can actually make a difference in this circumstance. Fuck, all you're doing really in recycling is making some asshole money. Why don't you tell those people where they can make the money? You probably get more of it if you wanted it that much. But they all probably have their arms in the industry already ahead of time before they make these pulls. These cocksuckers. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Excuse me. Yeah, you know what, Barbara? That's a good point. We can state that, like, Daniel's influence in all of this and his control, which has been openly discussed by Malaya and others, that it started after they got together in that sense, which might seem like a brainless point to make, but it's worth mentioning. You're talking about Margaret, the children look happy and well cared for when they were younger. Pre-Daniel, I wonder if many of those pictures were from Belinda's house, like the ones with Lily wearing glasses and a hat. Yeah. Daniel's control in all of this is going to be the factor. When Daniel starts to lose control of what it is that we're talking about, which happened, Daniel get mad. Daniel loses it. Daniel snaps when his control is questioned. That's just the way that it goes with control freaks, bro. That's why he'd be an easy individual to trigger in that sense, especially when he's all induced with substances. Maybe. Oh, I know, Esther. I know. That's another thing too. I'd have to really sell out. AB, they'll never have a righteous person in charge. They all serve their masters. Absolutely, that's the oath. I'm old enough and wise enough to know that now. Yeah, I get that. But I agree. I'm acknowledging your observation. I love it. Let's see. You're saying Daniel did not respond to questions about these allegations, but he has insisted in interviews with the Globe and Mail that he never struggled with rugs and does not have a rug problem. It's not for him to say. You can. It doesn't matter what you say at this point in time. You can confirm or affirm. Doesn't matter. We know you have a problem, you idiot. All we have to do is look at you. Okay, you're not lying to anybody. It's the same routine every single time with these people. All right. You need a 12-step process now. We can recognize you have a problem, Daniel. It's never was a problem. Absolutely was a problem. Then what's your problem? Well, he's probably never struggled with it. He's having too much of a good time on it. Absolutely it is. And it's a big reason and a big aspect, especially with this talk. Remember, there's still talk out there about him and Malaya's brother essentially kidnapping and holding against her will and grooming some girl with the devil's dandruff. So the more and more I get to know about Daniel, the more and more I think that's probably true. trying to break her in, get her to work for you. Hold on there. 1 of 4, 2 of 4. Despite that, he has admitted to taking... Oh, she's actually quoting the article right now. Despite that, he is admitting to taking math and pretty much everything. Yeah, that comes right from the article. He said he recently started attending Narcotics Anonymous 3 times a week. Oh, yeah. Nothing says that you're not a drug addict, like, now admitting to attending Narcotics Anonymous. Like, this guy, you can't have it both ways in that sense. Yeah, you're a tweaker, dude. In other words, this fucking guy, 3 of 4, and is taking online courses in anger management. How is that going? I've already done them. Oh, shit. Yeah, I'm taking online courses in anger management. Usually that kind of defeats the purpose of actually talking things out. You have to talk out your anger, your childhood trauma. We can pretty much speculate as to what your childhood trauma consisted of, though, just by looking at you. Did Earl touch you when you were a little boy? I bet you he did, probably in that trailer. Let me tell you. Earl, you be touching Daniel and Justin? Janie probably still does touch on him. Well, where do you think they sleep? They probably sleep together in that old RV right now. It gets lonely. It gets lonely even in an RV that size. And who am I to question their love? Their incestuous love. Daniel's inside on the computer taking his anger management course, and Justin and Janie are busy eating romantic dishes, strawberry and chocolate fondue in the RV in the back. Oh my God. Yeah, Missy. Oh my God, I gotta blow my nose. Hold on. I'll mute it. Oh my God, the more we get to know about this scenario, it's terrifying. Where's the number 4? 3 of 4. He's taking online courses. I just saw that one. Where's 4 of 4? Might not have it yet. If you bring it to the dump, Corey, they charge you $80 a load from non-recycling items. Yeah, then they get you that way. In the city, they do too. It's ridiculous. I always say I've just got 2 household bags. Here's $4, and end up dumping like my van load. You're not going to worry. I'm not paying that shit. The last thing I'm going to do is start negotiating over what's in my back with some high school kid. Do you know what I mean? Like, listen, I'll tell you what I have, son. And they're more than willing just to take the $2. There's no possible way I'm telling you that I have all of this shit that I'm dumping in the construction bins. You found nothing on the Google search for a depression course? Where do you see a depression course? I'm taking online courses in anger management, depression, parenting. Well, it's too late for that now. Child protection, too late for that now. And substance abuse, suicide, and violent behavior that are recognized by child protection officials. So what you're really saying is that Children's Aid have come into your life and set forward a bunch of stipulations in order for you to see Meadow again. Okay? You're going to have to pass these particular exams, and you can get that by taking all of these accredited courses that we will then say, okay, at least we now know that you have some sort of basic understanding of what's right and what's not before we charge your punk ass. Yeah, that's just what you have to do. That's just the requirements, it sounds like, before he gets to see Meadow or any of his other kids again. I don't think he's going to be seeing his other kids again. Mom's not very happy, his bio mom. I wonder what she's like. She's probably got herself buried away from people. Don't talk to me. Let's see. I have to clear my name for CPS. Like, he still keeps calling Children's Aid CPS. Who's CPS in this situation? You mean Children's Aid Society? Fucking Daniel. He still is quoted as calling them CPS. People. Registered trademark. He has to clear his name. That's what it sounds like. That's not clearing your name, though. That's just going through the motions so that you can see your kid supervised again. That'll be pretty much... I'm not sure how they treat that. I'm not sure how they treat that. Yeah, you know it. That's what he's trying to do. That's the whole point in being out here, because he knows the power of suggestion in that sense. Be safe, be free. Daniel's grooming us readers too in that sense. Right. Which was part of the reason of coming out and saying this. Or saying the things that he does. Yeah, how many of you believe his explanation for Lily having black eyes before she went missing? I'm sure we can trust that from Daniel. I do believe that she probably had black eyes, but not the way that she came about getting those. No, Paula. You can try to make that Paula, make that case in court. I don't see the connection. That's a factor. So what you're saying... Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, what's really what we're saying as well, too. So, but it would sound more like... First of all, it was ongoing resentment within the home which escalated into physical violence towards the children. And that escalated to showing up with school with marks on their body. And, of course, CPS following up the reports that they were getting from school. Junior kindergarten, like, might I add. The JK. Like, junior kindergarten and kindergarten had concerns about the kids showing up dirty, behind. It wasn't just, and especially that they suggested it, that the kids would possibly be autistic. Oh, they'll be holding on to the autistic because it makes themselves look less accountable in this circumstance. It's either or. They're showing the signs of severe neglect, psychologically as well. On top of that, they're being battered by Daniel. Yeah, it's not super remote out there. They make it sound like it's remote. It's not remote in that sense. You can get an hour, you're anywhere. It's Nova Scotia, for crying out loud. It's remote compared to downtown Halifax. But when you zoom out, it's remote in the sense that there's very few roads. There's secondary roads, and then there's the Trans-Canada. It's not like Ontario where there's country blocks every mile and a quarter, and it's bush, hills, one road in, one road out type of thing in that sense. All interconnected, but populated with small little communities between Truro, between the ocean and the Bay of Fundy. People usually get the hell out unless you've got money, I would expect. Traditional industries have been hurt. But eastern provinces have always struggled in that sense because they've usually been fishing dependent It's not their fault. It's the government's fault in that circumstance. Then it gets into that vicious cycle about becoming dependent on the government, because they're the ones feeding back into the industry. And when something happens, then see, I'm just one for small business in that sense. It's been a nightmare. Could have all kinds of shipbuilding out there, oil and gas, things like this, coal. There's all kinds of shit in Nova Scotia that they could benefit economically from. But it always seems to be a problem, especially here in the way Canada is run in that circumstance, because of it's still in the pocket of the globalists in that circumstance. We're still tied to the establishment, the Queen, the King, I guess, the Crown. Allegedly, Children's Aid took Lily when MBM, Malaya, was with Cody. Somebody posted that in the comments section, but never saw it again. Anyway, I don't think CPS has only been in their lives since December. Right, Janie Doe, I'm suspicious of it as well. It's just something that we can talk about because we know of a particular scenario. Yeah, it was probably an ongoing thing, especially for 2 years. Now, I think Cindy and those individuals probably knew a lot more than they're coming forward with. Just careful for being the ones that come out and actually start spreading the rumors, because you can make this tweaker become murderous again in some sort of fit of psychosis. You don't want to be that guy, do you? Yeah, Tammy, where do you live? You're so exciting. You don't want to live in that area down there. It's boring. Down there, where are you living? Where are you saying it's up? What are you in, Labrador? How much more exciting is Labrador? I like to go for like little trips in my Google Earth and think about all of these remote little places out on the coast where I'd like to go and live. Just isolate myself away. They've got an airport and they've got a little port there. There's all kinds of little areas out there. They got nothing out there though. There's nothing. But it's fun. It's fun to be there and visit for a little while, of course. To experience. Is lumber brokering heavily regulated? It depends where you are in the country, but yeah, it's the whole industry is regulated. But you can be a landowner and have certain logging rights to your property. You can be grandfathered in. You can have mining rights, mineral rights. It's not a lot of hardwoods out there, out east. It's still... You'll find some, I would imagine. In Canada, children cannot be supervised under the age of 12. Oh, you're kidding me, Margaret. Yeah, don't you remember the Y having the babysitting course at 12 years old? Oh, I'm 12 now. You guys can leave and I can, like, tear your house apart. Thinking that with your parents? Now I can get into all the trouble I want. Oh, you're in Toronto. Oh, well, Christ. I don't envy you, Tammy Burke. It's a fucking nightmare. Not for this guy. I don't even like where I am. I'm a country guy. I like to be near water, near lakes, so I can fish, go boating, not listen to neighbors, not have tweakers steal shit out of my front yard. I don't know where I'd go for that, though. Yeah, Tammy's not a good rating on where to go. She's from Toronto, for crying out loud. That's crazy. What the hell? Of course it's not as exciting. I can never sleep in that city. Too expensive, man. Way too expensive. You could, for what you're paying in Toronto, you could move out to Nova Scotia and live like a king, Tammy. Heavens to Betsy. You guys are all the big smoke. Teresa? Norbeaster, I was left alone in my house with my grandparents across the road. It was probably 8 and my sister 4. Now, it should not have been. I've gotten out of the house several times as a young in diapers. Really? I think my parents probably wanted to get rid of me. But they already signed their name away. You take me to the Eaton Center in Toronto and I get lost as a kid, just wandering around. That happened several times. But it used to be on purpose because I get attention for it. All of a sudden, I knew that if I did, it was weird. I'd almost do it on purpose. Start wandering. You can get lost. How fun is it to get lost in like a closed section of the Eaton Center or something like that? Well, it sounds scary, of course, but for a kid, from a kid's perspective, when you're that size, you can go in and out, just start running as fast as you can into like a hangar full of clothes. Oh yeah, if the world's a different place, right? Oh, that's a nice place. Niagara on the Lake. Oh, yeah. You're pretending you're not around. You're pretending down there. I like it. Go down there for weddings. A few times. Rich people's weddings from Toronto. They go to there. Just across the way. Dogs are running the yard. Ducks and chickens are grazing. Life is good. Tammy, I'll go to the beach for you, doll. Yeah, Tammy. Well, they got a beach in Toronto. Lake Ontario is nice. The waterfront's pretty cool. It's busy, though. Too busy for this guy. Too many crazy people. Halifax is the fastest growing economy in Canada. That's good news for the East. Are they building like crazy there? I can see that. They're probably trying to turn Halifax into a 15-minute city, one of Bill Gates' new plans. I hear they're spraying us right now with all kinds of this mRNA vaccination shit. You guys follow that? The People's Voice on Twitter? Go check it out. I can't talk about it here, though. Lake Ontario is nice if you're looking for E. coli, Mr. Hemi. I like going down. I'm a big fisherman. I like to go down and fish for salmon. Lake Ontario is a great fishing lake. Pickerel down near Belleville. Yeah. I used to work a lot in all of the water and waste treatment plants around the city. There's always something going on. Fucking stink, man. Hot and stinky. Yeah, Lucky Lou. Isn't that nuts? I always I don't get overwhelmed, but it can get overwhelming if you're not used to it. The 401 and the 16 lanes and things like that, and where you need to go. You get used to it. Yeah, there's a building moratorium in Halifax. Everyone is moving to Sleep Hollows like Enfield, Lance. Halifax is a nice city. But believe it or not, Nova Scotia is beautiful. Especially Cape Breton Island, friends. It's a beautiful place. Just where Daniel lives is a shithole. You can get a shithole anywhere, though. And people are nice for the most part, except for a couple. Oh shit. And they talk funny. They talk funny. They've got different vowels, but it's funny. I like it. I like Newfies, though, a little better. Newfies are my favorite. Newfies are so funny. And you always meet Newfies out and about because everybody gets the hell off the island and there's packs of them all over the place. Usually the most helpful individual, friendly, seemingly innocent, but equally, they've got the best stories, best storytellers, jokesters, work ethic, great work ethic. She's mouthing off to me, AB. Who's that? Who's talking? Who's mouthing off to me? How dare they? What are you saying, Tammy? Somebody in my chat mouthing off to me? I can't read them. Oh, Janie is stalking me? I never gave you permission to use those. Oh, is that the actual Jeannie? Jeannie's welcome in. Those are in a private group. Listen, sweet tits, we'll be discussing whatever it is that we want to in here. What exactly do you have to do with these poor kids going missing, my lady? Is that the real Jeannie? Let me see. I got to switch over. I'm so sorry. That's right, a private group. Let me see. Let me go and check to see if you're legit. Somebody's telling me. Jeannie, are you guilty? Let me see. Are you guilty in conspiring to cover up the murder of 2 children, madam? Let me see. How am I going to be able to tell? That's not Jeannie. That's somebody else. You fucking assholes. I thought this was Jeannie McKenzie. Who the fuck is this one then? Oh, your private group. Oh, well, guess what? I don't need your permission there, but thank you for them. She just wants a little bit of acknowledgement. Thanks, Jeannie. I thought it's probably a rapper. I thought it was Jeannie McKenzie. You guys got me. You're going to report me for using your screenshot from your private group chat? Go ahead and do that. Go ahead. Jeannie, do you know how YouTube works here, honey? Actually, this is from Mike Demands. You might have to go and talk to Mike Demand, so you wouldn't be able to actually strike me for using anything. Jeannie, you sound like a fucking retard in all of this, by the way. Your private group chat is a bit of an area. Do I know how copyright works? Absolutely I do, Janie, especially in comparison to you. Guess what? You get a 30-minute fucking penalty, bitch. Get the fuck out of here. So the person whose live chat this is, who I would never understand, I wouldn't get, nobody gives a shit, is mad that people are out talking about the things that are said in her particular live chat. Well, you're not going to advertise your live chat in my live chat, honey. Get the fuck out of here, you skank. What do you think about that? Yeah, she's a Daniel supporter, Tammy? Why don't you strike me down for copyright and try to do the next one? Let me know how you fill out those very important timestamps and qualifiers. I don't know. I don't know anything about copyright. In fact, I know all about copyright and publishing. I learned from Benny Keys. He taught me everything I know. This fucking Genie. Well, we have to say fuck yourself to at least one person a day now. But how should we read this between the lines? Well, congratulations that you've got just this fantastic little, child killing enabling private chat, you stupid bitch, Jeannie. We're going to get to talk about you a whole lot more. Congratulations. Hopefully it's on YouTube. Even more, does it come from another? It doesn't sound like you're very used to doing these sort of things, sweetheart. You, so important that you're interviewing Daniel Martel, double child, double murderer, killer. You are enabling this son of a bitch and all of the misinformation coming out to satisfy the public's interest. Or is it? Or is it to condition them, to mislead them, to divert them? It takes us to break it down. It takes us to sort it out. What the hell are you doing to contribute to finding Jack and Lily? Don't you just love that one? What are you doing to contribute to help finding Jack and Lily at this point in time? Me, I'm scrutinizing the fuck out of everybody. Maybe it's a different Jeannie. Maybe they just changed their name. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. You guys got me thinking it was Jeannie McKenzie, Tammy. Anyway, just mouthing people off. She's trying to silence you now from using internet leaked screenshots. I'm not sure if you know, guys, but this isn't my first fucking rodeo. You can threaten and pretend to have ownership over somebody else's screenshots. When it comes to YouTube, I took this from Mike Demands. All right? So just because it's your screenshot some overwhere doesn't make you like fucking LL Cool J. You know, you're not Sony Music. You don't own anything. There's nothing that you own, especially when you put it in a public setting, baby, like a group chat. That's public. Mm-hmm. And you can't copyright strike me for that. Even YouTube will send you a message and let you know just how fucking retarded that you are, honey. Maybe you're getting smoke from fires. Yeah, we have it all down here as well. Actually, we've been having it for the last week. It's not so bad here in the city. They came from Messenger or Facebook chat. Oh, you think that you're gonna copyright them? Well, let me know when you filed that copyright. I didn't give you permission to use those. You come in here trying to throw a heavy. Usually I give them. Usually you hear that from somebody who has interviewed somebody and they've uploaded the content on their channel. That's valid. But, honey, you just talking and letting Daniel talk to all his relatives on your private chat like you're somebody isn't something that you can copyright, honey. It's just you making yourself look like a fucking retard, okay, in front of the world. In fact, we're calling it out right now. New Daniel enabler, but it doesn't really matter. Are you going to sleep at Earl's fucking house tonight there, Jeannie? Why don't you have a couple sleeps there? Why don't you stay the weekend? Don't explain copyright to the moron, Tommy Larson says. They become dumber. That's a move like Rex. That's a classy Rex move. I didn't even know who you were in the first place, Jeannie. Actually, let's go to the next. Now I know. Let's go to Jeannie's next. Oh my God, look at this. What is this? Jeannie. Where's something Jeannie said? Oh, I didn't give you permission to use this. Guys, you're going to have to take it with a grain of salt. You don't happen to be related to Daniel, do you, Jeannie? All of you inbred motherfuckers resemble one another. Now, let me see. That's not what we heard, Belinda. Let me see. There's some more. There's some more of Jeannie's. What else of Jeannie's do we got here? Oh. Actually, this is Mike Demands. I got this from Mike Demand. There's nothing about Jeannie in all of this. Fucking triggered my PTSD. Jeannie, I want you back in here telling me what you think about these messages. You're not allowed to be in here if you actually are a supporter of Daniel, by the way. I'm sorry, I can't allow you to do that. Hey, Jeannie, one of your members sent all of the screenshots out, so take it up with your group, dumbass, says Mama Angie. Oh, I'm blaming Mike Demand. Mike Demand. I'll have to warn him. I'll have to send him a message. See the extent people want to be acknowledged? She just wanted to be acknowledged. She just wanted us to really say, hey, thanks, Jeannie. What a great job you guys are doing up in there. You know? That's what she really wanted coming in here. And you guys twisted it all around, and now you make me get all upset at her. Who the heck is Jeannie? I went off to feed my pets. Can somebody clue me in? Thanks. Tammy, oh God, Tammy, do you want to clue Infamous Kim in? Jeannie, I guess, came into my chat and she's upset that we're reading messages that were screenshot in a position or in a screenshot in her private chat with Daniel Martel. She didn't give me permission to be reading these or sharing these in front of a greater audience on YouTube because, of course, they don't want to take any of Daniel's so valuable information in the circumstance. We can't have any sort of disinformation going out there. Disinformation on top of the disinformation. Can't disinform on the disinformation. But of course, that's not what we're doing here, Missy. Infamous Kim, she had a private chat with Daniel so his what did that say? Sycophants could lick his boots. Oh, god damn, that is a good one. Fucking bootlickers. That is good. The sycophants. What an interesting comment. Jeannie, suck it up, buttercup. Okay, guys. Let's not. Too much negativity in here, friends. Too much negativity up in here. Thanks a lot, Jeannie. Next time we'll acknowledge it. Should I have been at your channel or in your private chat? Next time I'll acknowledge it. I thought that's all she wanted was some clout. There you go. There's your clout, honey. I suspect she may think that Danny Boy won't open up if she sees his private chat of thousands gets leaked to thousands more because Daniel expected privacy. Haha. Oh yeah, we don't want to. Guys, this is a private chat. Oh, what a way to put it. Yeah, of course he doesn't want to make any public statements. His statements are out. These are just for your eyes only. Daniel's story has never changed. Jeannie will be the one in this chat. Jeannie will be in the one claiming that Malaya and Daniel's story haven't changed. Their story is the most inconsistent thing ever. You can't get a more inconsistent. It should be the definition of inconsistent stories by way of a suspect in a case of a missing child or children. Absolutely. You couldn't get any more inconsistent, by the way. And you've got idiots walking around claiming that Daniel's story hasn't changed. These fools. Oh, God, Daniel, you're so smart. Of course he does. Well, Kitty, it seems like he likes the attention. He's having fun with it in that circumstance. Think about the scenario he's in, though. He loves the attention. I wouldn't go as far as to say it loves, like that was his primary motive in doing any of it. No, the primary reason for being out here is to make it look like, to give plausible deniability in that circumstance where there is no, where there really is no story. He's got a story, and he needs to work at it by brainwashing the public with it. These false claims about the children voluntarily leaving that trailer that morning. All right, that's all he speaks about. He doesn't speak about any of the actual timeline in the case. Jeannie. Oh, maybe it is Daniel's new girlfriend. You think? I think that's actually somebody else. I haven't heard about her in a while. Slim Pickens, it's supposed to be a safe place for family to speak. Oh, yeah. Well, probably still is until your parents start doing, the jib and start throwing hands at you behind closed doors. All of these things don't happen out in front of other people, especially with the types of individuals that Daniel and Malaya were. Teresa, you're saying Daniel must be freaking out right now? He's going to be lurking and trying to change all of this article? Watch tonight. Well, he's got his work cut out for him. Nobody's going to change the reality behind the scenario, Daniel. Nothing that you're going to say is going to be good enough at any point in time. And as a guilty individual in all of this, your primary concern should be what the cops think. Daniel wants to manipulate people into liking him. If you already like him, you aren't as important. Well, it comes down to not wanting a posse coming after your ass. Because when we find out the reality of this scenario, people are going to want to hang him from a light post. People already do. Kitty, he was messaging Sunny over there as soon as she streamed the article. Oh, it's just a huge misrepresentation. No, it's not, you dumbass. I love that. I love this neighbor. This neighbor's my new hero, my new flavor of the week. This is fantastic. This is fantastic. I can't wait to meet him in court. Daniel was talking with others and it went quiet. You mean in the live chat? Mike Demand's good at that. He goes and watches over them and reports back as to his behavior in the live chats. I'm good at talking shit, but I draw my line. I go and watch something more happier, like Seinfeld reruns on or something, make me laugh a little bit, and then I'll go do something. I get too worked up when Daniel's around actively trying to cover up his own tracks. I already know he's guilty. Don't need to play any of his fuck games. Never interrupt stupid when they're destroying their own selves. They're themselves, missy. We need Tint to ask the neighbor if he's heard that 5-speed since. Yeah, that's a good point. But it'd be difficult because you could really hear it. It takes up a lot of the noise when it's slowing down, speeding up and away. You can hear it from a mile away what the vehicle is doing. I want to know. Was it his ATV or a vehicle? Is there another vehicle? The RCMP will probably already know what vehicle it is. You would think. Lucky Lou Coco 2. It's unknown, uncertain at this point in time. But all indicators are pointing towards Daniel because, of course, he's the one with the power and control, and he doesn't want to lose that, and he's the violent one in the household. And the one under, drug-induced psychosis, we'll call it. A rug-induced psychosis. You need to be thankful for the reporter, in your opinion? This opened up a can of worms, maybe even Pandora's box, Missy Ledger. Yeah, they did a good job. The girls did a good job over there at It's a Criming Shame too. It's the right time, the right place and right time. And it doesn't matter when you're out there actively bullshitting on a constant basis. Any little thing could affect his story. It's going to send him into a tizzy. But when you're in a scenario like that and all you do is lie in the first place, it's just another day, isn't it? It's not really important if people are starting to not believe his story. It's the people that do believe it who are his priority. It speaks to the level of desperation. Daniel, we know you killed those kids. It's just a matter of time before we figure out how. And we've already laid it out earlier on during this live stream with the struggle and the conflict because Malaya had been trying to move out for at least since December and probably before that. You think about all the different ways a person can leverage influence over another person in that moment. It's not just the drugs. That's a simplified way of easing out of the reasons, but that's a contributing factor. You would have been guilt-shaming her and guilt-tripping and constantly trying to make it up to her. Maybe you're taking out for those long walks on the beach in the waterfalls. You're going to start to be the Daniel that she first... you're going to be the Daniel again that she first met. Oh, don't worry. You come on back to me, girl. Come on back to me, girl. Come back to me again. Probably was a weekly occurrence. And probably had everything to do with how disorganized, shitty, and poor of living conditions the children were in themselves. You're so concerned about a goddamn fence out there and everything else is rotting and deteriorating around you. You've got your priorities fucked up, son. If he was going to multiple locations, then somebody must have him on camera somewhere. Absolutely. Absolutely. So somewhere now that starts to explain a little bit about why there's so much seemingly video evidence. That they've got all kinds of video evidence, they say. Not evidence about anything, but they've collected it, right? So there's a lot to go over. But now that there's a reason and something to actually chase besides what you think, from Daniel's, there's that trip with Daniel being seen and everything from after that point. But there's also this report, which is significant. Oh, man, I believe this one. They should be able... Oh, maybe... I don't know. If they know where that thing went, then they could take a pretty good guess as to the whereabouts those children are buried. In a 5-hour period, do you think he could go back to the ocean and back 6 times? Without being seen? I don't think we have to worry too much about the ocean at this point. There's no real reason for me to think that he disposed of the bodies in the bay or the Gulf. It's got to be a waterway close by or a straight hole. Why would he keep having to come back each time? Was he choosing different locations? It sounds more like he was trying to stash 1, maybe 2, came back and got more equipment. Now, what does he have the most of around there? Earth-moving equipment, picks, shovels, rakes. It's real easy to go, and nothing's in good condition. You know, as good of a shovel as you can get, it still deteriorates with a wooden handle over time, and especially if you're digging down hard in a hurry. It's easy to break a spade, easy to break a shovel. Well, that's what I'm talking about, Tammy. Trail cams, video footage, surveillance footage from the particular area. I think you're probably right, Norbeaster. I feel if it was being a bog or a swamp of sorts, yeah. Good place to preserve bodies are in bogs. Yeah, too many cams by the ocean as well. There's a lot of cams everywhere. You know, it's just a matter of time. The cops just have to find it. You Randy, the rug equipment too? It's not like he's got a chemistry set there, dude. You make shake and bake in a soda stream bottle that you go and buy every now and then. That'd be about all of the equipment that he needs. In a grinder. Getting rid of meth? Maybe? I don't think so, Drippy. No. Well, possibly. Getting rid of things that are evidentiary against him, that's possible, yeah. Absolutely, that's what I'm trying to think of. That's open. I'm just reading it. Sorry, I was reading that wrong. Getting rid of evidence all night, hence being so fired that morning. That would make sense. That would account for wanting to sleep in half the day because you're up, traveling, digging, working hard, working like a man. Well, Mary Janser, it's nice that you're here. Don't forget about there's another situation that needs your attention as well in Kentucky that's playing out at this point in time. It doesn't seem that everything's right in that scenario, but we're still in the cusp of learning about more details of the case that are coming up. But a child disappeared in the middle of the night, and mom isn't necessarily acting right, only it's a little too early for me to say that. Out of courtesy. And even Daniel had that courtesy at one point, but we went completely the opposite direction. It's hard to believe anything that Daniel has to say at any one point in time. So I wonder if the vehicle had anything to do with Ron. See, we were trying to figure out a couple weeks ago why Janie had to bring in and mention Ron and his significance in front of the CBC. Because Ron probably has a lot more to do with it than we'd like to think. Now, we have the neighbor talking about hearing the 6-speed come in and out of that driveway 6 times over the course between 12 midnight and 5 a.m. He was outside working on his own vehicle. How about them Blue Jays this year, by the way? Excuse me, not the sidetrack. It's not too often that you get to have the best record in baseball or thereabouts, we'll call it. Anyway, I wonder, it's something to look out for. I wonder if Ron has more to do with that vehicle than anybody else. Who else would you call in an emergency situation, especially one with Jamie's influence in it, if it wasn't going to be one of Janie's brothers? I don't think Daniel would have that reliable of a friendship base in order to help them get away with murder. There's more of a dynamic here, and I'm interested to know that we got to be open to things that we never anticipated, and I think that we never anticipated just how guilty Janie is. Not that stupid numbnuts that came into my chat. I'm talking about Janie, the other numbnuts, Mackenzie. AB Cindy called at 12 a.m. That's what I heard too. That's worth mentioning. So Daniel mentioned earlier on that he was so suspicious of Malaya way back when, remember? Because, you know, according to his timeline, after they called the RCMP, Cindy was there in an unreasonable amount of time. Noting that Malaya was probably already in conversation with her ahead of time because her residence is like 90 some kilometers away. Not that she's in the know, but Malaya was already planning to bail out of that scenario. And listen, Malaya and Cindy's conversations on that phone are going to detail so much of probably what it is that was affecting Malaya to the point and what the resentment actually was within the confines of that trailer. Yeah, he says he was running through waist-deep water and that was worrying you? Oh. Well, I think we're past the point of worry, Norbeaster. Oh, yeah, it's a definite... You mean you're concerned about that statement at the time? I get it. I get you. It's a concerning statement indicating that, yeah, he was actively trying to make it look like he was in front of all of the other investigators out of the fact that he was concerned about the kids' welfare, well-being, as opposed to the fact that he was out there just for show, going through the motions in an attempt to avoid authorities and any sort of questioning and scrutiny in the moment under the guise of being in a panic. That would have seemed, in the moment to the cops, it would have seemed suspicious, absolutely, because here this guy just called you with a story that couldn't possibly be true because he's 10 miles down the fucking road. How far are those kids going to get in 20 minutes if you're trying to tell the cops in that moment that you just saw the kids like no more than, say, half an hour ago? And we were just, in bed, drifting in and out of sleep. You guys, the kids were up and we knew that they were here. Oh, sure you did. This whole situation reeks of a violent act the night before. Absolutely it does. The fact that they are actively diverting in real time when it comes to this claim and the shade and the attempt to assassinate the character of this particular neighbor in front of the media, sends them a signal that they're acknowledging him and he better stay quiet. It's a form of intimidation in that sense. And granted, they just killed 2 kids and there's a group of them trying to get away with it. It makes it a lot more powerful from another person in the area who doesn't know everything that's going on. It's an absolute threat. You can consider it as a threat. You can put it in a nicer way in the newspaper for sure. But why is Cindy covering for Daniel? I don't know that she is. Why do you say that Malaya's mom's covering for Daniel in that sense? I don't get that. She's staying the hell out of it, concerned probably for her own in this moment, trying to keep desperately to her own business. Simple. Tammy, Therese, do you think he's trying to throw us off by that, perhaps, so we don't think they're in the water? Well, the one thing that you guys can probably agree on is that Daniel has been active in trying to throw people off since the get-go. So asking yourself, is that person who's doing that again to you? A relevant question? Absolutely. It answers itself. Yeah, he's actively been trying to throw everybody off. So when you ask yourself that question, you know the damn answer, Tammy. You know it's probably a yeah. But it doesn't necessarily, I know in the context of where the bodies could possibly be. Well, they either are or they're not. At this point in time, it's a 50-50, isn't it? Given and people are arguing out here who are analyzing the statements of those involved, there's a lot of mention of water, and that would indicate that they've got water on the brain, and there's probably a reason for that answer, more so, and it probably has everything to do with where those kids are. So there's a strong possibility. Yeah, we need divers, absolutely, but it doesn't mean that you know it's not worth searching other places in that sense, like on land. Could be both, couldn't it? There's two bodies. I'm not worried, but I'm concerned about the possibilities with this new, we'll call it the new revelation, the new statement about whether or not those trips actually mean that there's multiple disposal sites. Or if he's tweaking and incompetent and in a state of mind and he keeps forgetting and coming back and getting things that he requires. More weight, stone, rope, duct tape, packaging, shovels, quicklime, who knows? More sites, the more chances there are of getting caught. You would think. That's not actual fact. That's just my mind. That's just me talking. I would think that there would be more of a chance of getting of evidence coming to the surface over time because animals smell decomp. They can give you away in this circumstance, especially if people are out looking. Even maybe he needed a little bit of moving equipment, some leverage, some moving bars. He's got to move some rocks over, do a little bit of decorating out in the middle of the wilderness. Well, Randy McLean, AB, he was out planting evidence in that circumstance as well. Maybe he was. Maybe he was out already ahead of the game staging scenes. Remember, they're finding this blanket like a kilometer away on the other side of the property. He needs to drive there. Did he do it on the ATV? Why would he drive the ATV right to the spot where he planted the fucking evidence? It seemed kind of stupid, wouldn't it? Wouldn't you think that there would, if it was relevant, there would be other details? So it probably, maybe he went there on a car because, your tire tracks don't leave marks on the highway and you can just run in. Or maybe it's a trail and there's a ton of marks and it just blends in with a lot of other muddiness. Who's to know? It'd be interesting to see the camera footage. Oh, it's going to be very interesting. Very interesting to watch. Yeah, I've been there before too. Nor'easter, getting stuck in swamps. You always have to go with the one. Now there's this. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. A pain in my ass. Start when you start learning how to get vehicles unstuck from mud, or learning how expensive tow trucks are. Be safe, be free. If D was not the male culprit, Janie guarding the property would be sufficient. What do you mean? You're talking about railway tracks, Randy? Strong possibility. It's a strong possibility he uses that as transport because it's a way that you can remain out of sight for longer periods of time in your travels between points. And probably, you wouldn't have to worry about a lot of stuff being in your way necessarily. There'll be a few things. Infamous Kim's amazed that nobody's in prison. Jocelyn Smith hasn't been found in South Africa. However, her mom was charged for selling her to a witch doctor. Yeah, I know that. Jesus, Infamous Kim. Yeah, that story was traumatizing. Oh my God. Sadly, that's not the case here, though, Kim. Not in this circumstance. Not anymore. Daniel probably wishes it was, though. Way, way back when we were first getting to learn about the circumstances, before we knew anything, in other words, you could have introduced a lot of different possibilities. Now we're being able to narrow it down a little bit based off of all of these factualized third-party witness accounts. You're great, or Nasty. It's good to see you, brother. Wonder why Janie stayed home Thursday evening? Interesting. All of them are covering. Yeah, I'm interested to know, Teresa, too, that dynamic. Janie is so... That comes back. The only thing that I can think of is it comes back to their living situation in the trailer. And her having disdain towards the kids and the new living arrangements that put her and Justin, two people in that little fucking trailer out there behind, because they can't, in other words, stand living around so much noise with the kids and Daniel and Malaya fighting all the time. Well, so much for not knowing what the hell goes on in that trailer. You just answered our question there, Janie. Whatever goes on in the trailer, you moved away from it a whole 150 feet out back to the corner of the property, specifically to avoid living around the kids, to avoid living around whatever the hell was going up on in that trailer. All of the bizarre, maybe it was an arrangement set forth by the Children's Aid. We don't know that point yet. Okay, good to see you, Amanda. Is it hot in the UK right now? You getting a heat wave? Ow! Congratulations. Finally. They're modifying that weather just fine. You can have the heat. I'm sick of it already this summer. I'm not complaining, though. Yeah, Randy, perhaps somebody's going to flip today before forensic evidence comes back. TikTok. We can only hope. All of these things take a little bit of time, and we're only 3 months in. Don't expect to be a lot longer in this circumstance. You would have to think that the case is already so strong against them, considering the only thing, the biggest thing in this is proving to a jury that indeed these people, meaning Daniel and Janie and Malaya, have lied. Daniel especially. But the people, the parents in this circumstance, have lied. You do that through demonstrating all of the inconsistent stories and the things that Daniel claims. You can do that to a much bigger degree than you can Malaya at this point in time from an observer's standpoint, not from the RCMP standpoint, because remember, their evidence is the only evidence in that regards, the verifiable ones, right? In accordance to what we need to bring these guys to justice. We can speculate and come to a pretty accurate determination of what that is from afar, given the things that they mention or don't. But don't let that scare you off. It should intrigue you and motivate you to speculate even more. That's what Jack and Lily need in this circumstance. They needed a caring, loving home in a healthy environment. The same thing that every other child needs. The same things that we all require. Lisa Dare Daniel wants people to think law enforcement is telling him things when they aren't telling Belinda anything. He's a liar. Well, absolutely. Well, the RCMP straight up told you that they are in communication with one biological family member in regards to updating and conversing about progressions in the case. Not Daniel, nobody else. That might not even be Malaya. They didn't even say that. That might mean Belinda. And guess what? When it comes to their investigation, they don't tell you anything, ever. It doesn't matter how close, how cool you are, how many bottles of whiskey that you brought. You're not going to get an in. You're not going to penetrate the investigation in that sense. And what does that act even say about you and your culpability in the first place? Like, it doesn't matter how hard you try, Daniel. You can't reinvent the wheel. You can't reallocate new meanings to the phases of this investigation. The dumbest thing that you could have ever done is deny that you're a suspect in what? KI double hockey sticking Jack and Lily on the CBC weeks after their disappearance, and nobody has even brought it up. People are confused as to what it is that you're even saying up there. And it took us months to really understand the motivation that you had back then in the moment. It had nothing to do with Jack and Lily. You've got them hidden and stuffed away just fine. What has to happen is Malaya has to open up about this. Malaya has to let the RCMP know about what happened and what she knows about it. She's got to flip. In considering that Daniel brutally murdered her children, it's probably going to take a little bit of time for her to become deprogrammed in that sense, to use an older term from that. But I think it still applies in this circumstance. She needs to go through a little bit of a transformation into the person that she is in order to recognize what did happen. She's not getting away with anything, and she's still going to be held accountable. But in the same breath, I think, considering the circumstances and her being a victim to a degree in the situation and circumstances that led up to the kid's death, she's not going to be held to the degree, like first degree, that Daniel's going to get. So is there some sort of agreed upon discipline that they deal with these kids a certain way? How bad was it? How bad was the potential torture of these children away from the scenes that nobody ever saw? Slim Pickens, you wonder if Daniel snapped giving the kids a bath. What are you thinking? I don't know. What are you thinking? What would make you think that? Amanda Graham, surely Daniel must know by now he's not going to get away with this heinous act. I think he's been in that way, that state of mind, since the search, since they called the RCMP. That's the reason that he's out here actively, hiding in plain sight in this circumstance. And he's having way too much fun protecting and controlling the narrative and attempting to in that circumstance. not really wanting to address the elephant in the room or providing any sort of solid concrete evidence in order to satisfy the masses about his location in order to divert any sort of suspicion against him. No, he deserves each and every dirty look that he's complaining about getting in public. They all do. They all do. Because look at what it is that they're doing. Look at what it is that they've done. And they don't intend to ever tell the truth. That's the whole point in carrying out this conspiracy in the first place. What the hell did they do? That question just haunts my mind. How bad is this? And it has to be worse than you could possibly imagine. Sadly. He lied about what they were wearing from day one. Yeah, then tells you in these statements, Janie's private chat statements, we'll call them from now on. Oh, shit. He lied about what they were wearing from day one and then redacted that claim a few days later. Oh, yeah. And then tells you that it's not important anyway. Don't worry about what the kids were wearing. It's not even important. What the fuck kind of weird world is this dude living in? Nothing says guilty then. Like, I mean, he's just reaching. Is it necessary to lie so much, Daniel? Like, it's bizarre. It's just coming out left, right, and center. It's all lies. And he's got to keep compounding these lies on the backs of one another to maintain the last ones, right? But it should be, in theory, pretty easy for him. I don't think it's very easy at all. It's adding a lot of stress to his already stressful life. No wonder he can't go back working at the lumberyard. This is stressful. Trying to get away with a double homicide. It's not the easiest thing that you've ever taken on. Fuck, you couldn't even fix the holes in the wall. Daniel, I thought you said Lily and Jack went to bed between 7 and 9, out late Wednesday, and you don't know what time the children went to bed May 1st. Yeah. Or update that sort of information. It's like sometimes you can understand somebody not really remembering something in the moment, but these people don't remember things that, parts of the story in the timeline that they should eventually have an answer to, but they're more than happy to tell you that they don't know all of these certain things. And you actually end up knowing more about the timeline than they do, which is really bizarre. Yeah, so his Daniel comes in and out of this notion that somebody else came in and took them, i.e. the stranger abduction, which is nonsense. The RCMP were so quick to stomp that out, especially when, in hindsight, in that sense. When you look back now it makes a lot more sense. There's no way we need to even consider an Amber Alert. And in the moment, fuck, you're desperate. You're crying for your own hides. You're like, please put out an Amber Alert, please. You're counting on that. Not just to help maintain whatever narrative that you're putting out, but that makes people think that they could be really anywhere and there is a vehicle and a stranger abduction involved. They were really counting on that. And that put a real kibosh on it because it puts scrutiny back on that initial story in a public sense. And of course, there's all kinds of people that want to get there first and want to protect these innocent parents and all of this, and they're hoping that they find them sooner than later. Right, Jeannie? This private chat is all members of Daniel's family. Seemingly. People that know him and support him in the circumstance. So he's found his tribe and made it, but it's artificial, it's superficial, because it doesn't matter how many of these morons that you have hoodwinked in the moment, fun boy. When it comes to justice for Jack and Lily, that's going to take priority over even your life. You and Malaya sent those wheels in motion by planting this false narrative with the cops in the first place to cover your own heinous act, your own violence. Be safe, be free. One of three. Daniel did not respond to questions asking how Jack received the black eye in December. But in private Facebook messages, shout out, Janie, private Facebook messages maybe, that were shared with the Globe, he acknowledged Jack had many black eyes. It was a common theme around there. That really makes me wonder about SA. Maybe Daniel was allowing all of Janie's weird brothers to touch him. Maybe he was renting him out, exploiting him further in exchange. These types of lies and the people who tell them all ring true a lot of times. I'm not trying to generalize, but I'm still suspicious of SA being involved in all of this. And if it's the one of the things that took their lives in the first place. You're telling me one time Lily punched him in the face, he wrote. He also said Lily had a black eye when the children went missing from an incident with a Tonka truck that occurred on May 1st, right? The day before the children disappeared, she pushed down on the truck and it swung up and hit him in the face. God darn, that's such a plausible story for the CPS investigator that stops by your house. I'm sure she'll write that down. I don't believe that shit. I don't believe that whatsoever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't take from the fact of all of the other black eyes they show up from. That's the problem with having black eyes all of the time. Then it would indicate you were neglecting them and not supervising them properly if you let things escalate to a point of something like that. But they get good at putting blame on the kids in that circumstance. That's what they've been doing the entire time, isn't it? Your hypothesis is the kids disappeared from the night prior. They removed evidence. The next day informed the cops. Yeah, you're falling in line, infamous Kim. Sounds like you're on the right track. Be safe, be free, which is true. Quote, they act out whenever she's there. She always gets me to calm them down or get them to stop fighting or feed them. Most other people would actually consider that helping out in the home. So do you notice that Daniel is separating himself, really saying he's doing all of these things, but then again he's being told he's separating himself from actually being an active participant in a healthy family environment by doing, the cooking, the cleaning, laundry, wiping walls, cleaning floors, clean the bathroom, scrub that toilet, bathtub. She's making him. Malaya was making you. What else did you have to do around here? Like, take a look around the fucking place. There's holes in the goddamn floor wall, and you can repair that. But this is a trailer that is exposed to the outside elements, boy. Like, you're not looking after your home. What else is going on around there? Like, what is it he's doing? What's preoccupying his time? The answer to that was his little addiction, his meth addiction. They call them. Or, quote, it was right just like any other for the young children, he added, though he couldn't remember what time they went to bed. But you're saying, be safe, be free, which is true. They act out whenever she's there. She always gets me to calm them down. Or gets me to stop fighting. Or feed them. Or get them up. And put them to bed every night. First of all, she always gets me to do that. Like, she always gets me to do these things. And is that an effort to try to make it look like he's the caretaker, the caregiver for the kids? Well, then why is she making you do all of these things? What would you be doing otherwise to begin with? And every night? Come on. Right. Like, you're really using Malaya to really bolster your own temporary ego and your image. Like, it's so childish. It's so unnecessary and stupid. Like, you don't have the need, even when you're trying to get away with a double homicide here, dickhead, you don't have the need to sit there and embellish your own ego in the moment to make yourself look like a hero on a constant fucking basis to the point where it's cartoonish. It's like it's a cartoon. You're describing it like a cartoon. Probably the same name of the LSD he dropped. Those are statements from Daniel. That is good. Still, primary subject matter is always self when it comes to Daniel or Janie in the circumstance. And the only answer that they have is that sliding glass door that makes a noise, so that they can tell you that's the point at which the children volunteered to leave that premises. And whatever happened to them afterwards, they had got no idea. The cops wouldn't even issue an Amber Alert. That's their complaint. It's disturbing, disgusting. Of course they're hiding something. In fact, this is a beautiful case to train cops on. It has to be. Why aren't they handcuffed yet? Well, it's probably the way that they're wanting to prosecute the case. And the driving factor is probably going to be Jack and Lily's body. If they don't feel confident that they can retrieve them, then this no body prosecution has have to go forth, which the most important thing that they have to do to get a first degree capital murder charge on Daniel and others for the other ones is prove to the jury that through the inconsistent statements, through factors in their narrative compared with witness testimony like that of the neighbors, that they need to convince those 12 jurors that there's no doubt in their mind, beyond a reasonable doubt, that these individuals are lying, in contrast with these two kids going missing. The only plausible solution as to why is that they themselves are the ones who killed them and are covering up their crimes. And there's all kinds of evidence suggesting that. Then that basic scenario opens the jurors' minds to the obvious. And that's the threshold. So it's going to take a little bit of time to establish all of these lies that continue to be developed by Daniel. That's all. And one day, you're going to see the headline that old Danny boy just did a perp walk, and you're going to tune into YouTube, and you're going to see this son of a bitch get manhandled out in front of his fucking RV trailer, and there's going to be like 6 girl cops humping him and putting the spit mask on over his head because, of course, they just can't take any more of his nonsense. He's going to be on the way to the Huskow, and he's still going to be claiming that he's an innocent man in all of this nonsense, and it's everybody else that has this wrong. And you can't prove anything. You can't prove anything. That neighbor is lying. Wade is crazy. No, they'll be taking this son of a bitch in, and he's going to be getting his just desserts in general population in some fucking prison in Nova Scotia by some BFI that's in there for something. There's going to be all kinds of things to talk about. Amanda Graham, they must have been living a nightmare each and every day. I would expect so for those 2 years. So for 2 years, they really outlined this torturous living situation that Daniel wants everybody to believe that these kids have been, there's something wrong and they're being neglected. It's Malaya's fault. It must be postpartum depression, because of course it wouldn't have anything to do with the nasty control that he was putting forth over her, hence the kids. The kids were just an extension of Malaya, and the rage that he felt at Malaya every time that She threatened to leave him, wanted to leave him, was going to leave him. She was forced into accepting all of these false promises by a person who was coming off a drug psychoses. Now, how much she was involved in it, we don't know yet. Has to have been some, because Wade's, she's a thief. She's stealing from family members, trying to probably goes for the rugs. What does it always goes for? You feel both were passed around, AB? Yeah, because I think that they were probably taking advantage of Malaya more so than he wants to lead on. You're claiming the baby benefit. All of the things that go along with that. Diaper fund. There's all kinds of other things. That was money into his income, and it didn't look like it was going back into paint, that's for sure. It wasn't going back into like any flooring or any sort of improvements to improve their living situation. In fact, it got worse. You would think that would have been satisfactory enough to it would have been a point for Malaya to be and say something, and it would have started up, because of course, whose responsibility is that? Does she have to tell you to go out and do things to do them? Like, who thinks like that, Daniel, except a person who is a little ambiguous in their role as a parent in the first place? Why is everything her job? She's making you do these things? She's probably trying to get you involved in improving the family dynamic. That would require you interact with the children. People who interact with the children are trying to pose or play that fatherly figure, would otherwise be doing these things anyway, if they were necessary. But they're not necessary. You're going to get the kids to stop fighting? Why are they fighting? What would they have to fight about? A 4 and a 6-year-old? All they had was each other in this circumstance. Were they fighting over food? The CPS worker would have to talk to Patty regarding Lily's black eye? That's a good point. Good to see you, Miss K. She can make a statement and dial police, but couldn't dial for help treatment. Yeah, why is she... it has to be the shame from drug abuse, in that sense, in my opinion. Because that would be the main thing for them to hide from the authorities. Not mention every other thing. That's just a contributing factor to what they would have a problem with on the outside. That would be rather obvious to the people there, but from the perspective of Malaya and the need to lie and to have something to deceive like people at the CAS, you would think that would have been a motivating factor for her to lie or be so. Well, there's fear too. Fear is probably a bigger one. Daniel, a dude that you know who doesn't take any shit, you know how he gets in that sense. You know how elevated, escalated he gets. He's went and just hid the bodies of your children. They're not alive anymore. Why are you pretending in such an irrational way to think that there's still some sort of hope out there, that they're out there living with Ewoks in the trees? The kids are dead, and Daniel killed them. Skilo, that's interesting that you say that you bring that up. There's so many similarities to the situation on Ben Hill Road with Summer. Yeah, especially in this little dynamic with Dawn Wells doing all the talking for Candace, and Candace always hiding behind the fact that she herself is traumatized and just can't speak about it at any point in time. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities here. But there's a lot of similarities in all of these particular cases. And that's the desperation in the areas in which they need to lie, and it's you recognizing that pattern. They all have the same reason to lie because they're all goddamn well guilty of doing something to their own children in the circumstance, and withholding and subverting this evidence that would suggest that. Sebastian Rogers, it's this 3 o'clock, these 3 o'clock movements that Chris wanted you to disregard, that they don't even bat an eye at. Oh, you're telling me there's people moving across my lawn at 3 a.m? Oh, probably nothing. Anyway, Sebastian's still missing. Yeah, there's always a lot of that going on. But in this especially, that's it, Skilo. It's everything in this circumstance. Nothing. It's so blatantly a lie that you have to go then from the police standpoint, start your own from scratch timeline and have to put things together and then go back and cross-reference and question and do things a little bit differently, as if, this wasn't some sort of like murder mystery dinner theater or anything. Like he's actively trying to get away with this and they've planned to cover up and stick to a story. Well, if it was just that easy to get away with things. These people aren't that great at lying. It's so obvious that it is a cartoon. It's so bad. We feel bad regurgitating the same things every day sometimes, but it's just so important. Because Jack and Lily do need people to speak out and speak the reality about this situation on their behalf. And Daniel is actively there in front, trying to fool you into thinking that, hey, it's me. I'm the man. No, everything gets my approval. Oh my God. Listen. Anything else but the information that comes from me is disinformation. No, yours is disinformation. Anything else is misinformation. That's why he's out here. Self-preservation. Because he thinks he's really going to get away with this. He's trying to think ahead. This is him planning ahead, using foresight, trying to pretend he's smarter than the system. People get away with this every day. People who get away with making people disappear don't end up on the fucking, cover of every major newspaper in the country. Don't get themselves interviewed and don't have their faces out there talking about things in a certain way that make you look guilty on the daily. Every day he looks worse and worse. It can only be one thing. It can only be one thing. You were left to care for the children, and now those children are nowhere to be found, and police consider them dead. They wouldn't have lasted an hour out there in the conditions, and you didn't even want to give people what, you didn't want to tell anybody what they were wearing. It's not important, yet he's out here, what he wants you to think is flavor of advocacy for two missing children, Jack and Lily, kids that he's not even related to. Look at what he's spent his time doing. I don't think I've disliked an individual more than I've disliked this son of a bitch. This is truly evil. And to do it on the back of those two innocent children whom you disregarded from day one really makes me turn and wonder about, Janie. And the answer is really more prevalent than we like to admit. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree in this circumstance, and it's an analogy, I know. But it's an analogy for a reason. Randy, you think Malaya snapped? In an unalived one and Daniel did the other? Holy mackerel. I think that Daniel unalived them both, or Malaya was made to be a participant in it, and Daniel is using that over her as another form of control, a tool of control, because that's what he fucking does. That's what he's shown to do, and he even indicates that in his language, in my opinion. And what would you do in that circumstance? So you would use that murder, and you would murder that child in front of everybody else to traumatize the F out of them. And you fucking use your finger and you say a word, and that's going to be you. That's fairly effective. That's Nazi level shit. Like that's an effective way of influencing people, is to murder somebody in front of them. That's sad, but historically common, especially during wartime, and it still is, sadly. And I feel that you don't need war for it to be effective. You know, Daniel probably got caught in doing something that he doesn't want to get out, and it just progressed. Maybe it was exposed that he was exploiting these children in sexual ways, or him and a greater group of individuals, and he was profiting off it or exchanging it for other things, which is common. He was trafficking, in other words. He would be trafficking these kids behind Malaya's back. Did something get found out? Did somebody else see something, not just between the two children? But Daniel was shopping them out because he himself is doing it in that sense. And being so involved in the methamphetamine community, we'll call it, that you would be in the know already, because birds of a feather flock together, in the deeper black shadow parts of that particular community in the area would all already be in the know. If you're doing one thing, you're probably doing the other, because sexual deviance just comes along with the use of that drug. It's almost a no-brainer. It's almost a guarantee. It's just, getting the evidence for it. And a body would provide such evidence. So I wonder about that. Wade said she didn't care. Either something else happened is right. What, Donna? Good day, good day. Wayne said she didn't care. Either something else happened. Yeah, it blows my mind, Amanda Graham. I can't figure out this dynamic. Like, it has to be incestuous in that sense. It's second nature to them. Oh, it's just life out there is too expensive. Well, you just gave up on life, and you're all huddling together in a deteriorating state. Like, what sort of family life is that? Like, what the fuck is going on with you people? Put the Sound of Music in or something. Watch some positive movies. Get happy. You're watching the wrong things. Who knows? But I really, truly, it's bizarre. And there's got to be other things and reasons for it. And the lifestyle that they lead, and it probably goes deeper, and it probably has a lot more to do with incest and sexual abuse in that area, because I think we're in that sort of area of this mall in the first place. Their age sharing room is accepted by CPS. How do you know that to be true, Mr. Hemi? I don't know that to be true. But it could be the reason what's relevant. It could be a factor as to why they've got Janie and Justin living out in together in the trailer. Imagine if that living arrangement isn't by choice. Imagine if it was something that was put upon them by mandate from Child Protective Services in this circumstance. Imagine the resentment towards the children in Malaya because of that. Oh, don't worry, we'll make plenty of room for you. Come move in. There's plenty of room here. There's no room in a fucking trailer for 3 kids, 2 adults. Are you crazy? That's nuts. That's tight. That's tight living. You can do it. Like, it's not so bad if it's that age, right? Because you can manage all the toddlers and a baby. But it's busy. It's loud. It's chaotic because you've got to change diapers all the time. You've got to interrupt your whatever the hell it is, your Sunday night baseball in order to go change a diaper or get some butt wipes. You got to do stuff all the time, and the kids direct your schedule in that circumstance. So you start to become less. Well, you can start to become a better parent, I guess. But when you have those those drugs in you. These are disassociates. So it's always a hassle, okay? So imagine his mental state. Anything that he has to do around there is going to be a hassle, especially when he comes up now and starts mentioning it, how Malaya, one, was making him do these things, or he wants at the same time to take credit and is bringing it up to make it look like he was super dad. You know, he wants clout for it. When in fact, especially with the state of mind that he is either coming off those substances or being on them, it's going to be a pain in the ass for him. And he's going to generate or build resentment towards the kids out of that. And he's holding it against Malaya because he's insinuating in a misogynistic manner that somehow all of these things, Mr. Dad, that would otherwise be a parental duty and you don't really bring up as complaining or putting on other people as though it was their duty. So there's a little bit of the control in Daniel creeping through in all of these statements nonetheless, because the type of person doesn't, if you were genuinely like that, you don't genuinely bring it up in any sort of conversation. You don't have the need for some random individual to believe you're one way or the other. You're satisfied and content with life because you're doing the right things. You don't have the need to create the illusion. And that's all this son of a bitch is doing, is creating an illusion of being a caring father in this sense. I'll tell you though, his ex-wife has the right idea. He's cut off from seeing his kids, and he wants to sit there in front of the camera and take up time complaining about how he's so hard done by. That, oh, it's just so hard being put under scrutiny like this. Well, you're a child killer, you son of a bitch. You don't have a good story for it. It's not everybody else's fault for not believing it. That's the way he wants to portray how this is going to go out, how this is going to play out. It's not like that. Earl drives the 6-speed, Randy McLean says. How do you know this? You're tickling me. You're tickling me. Is that people out there talking? You guys probably know more than I would. But I haven't heard that yet. Earl drives the 6-speed? Earl. Yeah, the ex-wife is smart, Slim. She recognizes it right away, cut him off. He has the inability to prove, or really prove that he didn't kill these children. That should be otherwise fairly easy, especially when you think you got 4 people around there that would say that you didn't have anything to do with any sort of involvement in these children disappearing. Now, would you? Of course, Janie said he doesn't. My son's a good boy. He would never do such a thing. But she screams it at the camera in a state of distress that's shocking. Like, if there wasn't a tell, she knows what he did. Oh, Christ. What was the point of bringing these cameras out again, Janie? Yeah, I heard that, 80 Katie, these bans that they're putting into effect. They don't want people walking in the woods because it's too dry up in that particular type of forest. Christmas trees, don't you know? It's getting too dry out there. They don't trust you. Campers and hikers smoking out there and carrying on. Missy Leger, your Jeep's a 6-speed? There's another good point. Jeeps. Yeah, it was a 5-speed car that night, multiple times that night. Friends, I'm going to tone it down here at 2:59 p.m. on Friday. We'll be back. It's Friday. We'll be back tonight. There'll be more breaking other people. Make sure that you go out and check out Mike Demand. He's got great updates. And when it comes to the statement breakdown, statement analysis, so is Ninchi's True Crime. Both have new videos this morning on this particular topic. Stand by. We'll be back to talk about a little bit more of what really needs to be talked about for Jack and Lily, on behalf of Jack and Lily. Because if I was missing, I would want people to be talking truth on what went on too. Daniel is not and cannot be a part of that. Good day.